2 of Ironblood Dwarves, a Fear the Boot / Twitch / YouTube / podcast / wherever the heck else this winds up, actual play project. Where we last left off, I'm going to make one of the characters say. Dan, you usually introduce these things, and you got Beethoven. House rule. Okay, 2 house rules we'll implement right now. Number 1, for everyone who wants to get big fat XP and make the GM happy, now is the time to ceremoniously destroy or hide your phone. The first and last lesson I want anyone watching this to learn about how to run or play in a D&D game is kill your smartphone. So, I'm taking you... Yes?
I cannot take your challenge today. I'm on call.
You're on call?
Yep, okay. Cannot get rid of the phone. I'll take the XP hit, it's no problem, but I can't get rid of the phone.
I will cut you a middle deal. If you use your phone for no other purpose than to, if you are called for on-call, respond to the on-call, you will get the bonus. Because unlike everyone else who hides behind the pretense that there's going to be some emergency that doesn't involve them getting on Reddit for 4 hours during your game, you actually are on call.
I would request one other exception, which
is my video poker.
There was one night, it wasn't this game, it was a different game. I was actually holding my phone because Beth asked me to be on standby.
Okay, yes, actual medical contingency standby also said. Okay, this is not an absolute rule.
No.
But the exceptions have to be clear and present dangers, not this general idea that I won't be able to screw around on my phone. All right, with that out of the way, house rule number 2 will be a corollary to the house rule called Beethoven. Now, Beethoven is something I picked up from Dan and Chad, who had implemented it in their 90s days at the latest, which is at the end of the session, the GM awards a particularly worthy player. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best player, but someone who brought a lot to the game and to the table with a bust of Beethoven. Now, we don't have a physical bust of Beethoven to mail across the country, but we're doing it in spirit. So I awarded Dan the Beethoven last game for actions conducted as Edwin, and so I'm going to say that if you are the holder of Beethoven at the beginning of the following session, in which you get your 1 free reroll, you get to do the previous game's... God, George, get out of here. I'm not clicking on that.
I'm not clicking on that either, I don't...
But anyway, the power of Beethoven, the point of Beethoven is that you can give Beethoven back to the Game Master for a single reroll of any 1 dice. Enemy's roll, your roll, saving throw, attack roll, damage roll, your hit point roll when you level up, I don't care. As long as it happens tonight, you can give me Beethoven and make that reroll.
Can I request a slightly different, or an additional mechanic, because... And Battletech rerolls made a fair amount of sense, but with 5e's thingy, can I request that Beethoven also be usable to gain advantage?
Is there a difference?
Yes, because in advantage you roll the 2 dice simultaneously and pick the better, as opposed
Beethoven,
to re-rolling and taking the second roll even if it's worse.
I'll apply that to a situation in which advantage could be applied.
Okay.
Like your attack roll or something. Your hit point roll, no.
Right.
But anyway, that is what Beethoven is. And since in this particular game, the holder of Beethoven gets to do the summary of the previous game, Dan, you have the floor.
All right. So in the previous game, we worked through the prologue and the known elevator pitch of the game, which is that there is a clan of dwarves called the Ironblood that live within a mountain, and this takes place in the same continuity as John's Blood Moon Goblins. I'm not clear if this is actually the same dungeon or not. But
it is not the same place, but it is the same universe.
So within that, there was an event which seems to be a mixture, as best as we could tell as players, that was a mixture of genuine volcanism or volcanic activity, of lava flowing up into the chambers, as well as likely some demonic activity. And when the game started, we were all either in or around the prisons, the brig of the dwarf hold. And Chad's character, Bran, was actually locked up for punching somebody, punching an officer or something to that effect. George's character was down there trying to play chaplain to him. I was down there looking for someone or something. I don't remember what. Ed's character, Golem, was not. He was MIA. And Anna was down there as well, and I don't recall why, but for some reason
Albrecht was in there.
That's right.
Kabak was arrested, and
Zava,
Anna
yes,
why.
she owes a blood debt to a dwarven elder who was locked up in there for getting drunk and belligerent, which is like dwarven par for the course. So we're not really sure why he was locked up for this. This is like taking graft as an Illinois governor. We're not even sure why it's a crime.
What was that about Illinois governor?
I said it's like taking graft as an Illinois governor. We're not even sure why.
It's part of the job.
Yeah, it's in the job. Why is it even a crime anymore?
Right.
And so during that the walls burst open and monster or two started coming through, and so there's a crocodile, and so we freed the people.
It was Sobek, Egyptian god of the underworld.
You know, I was divided between whether it was
But it only had 10 hit points.
Or the living incarnation of the spirit of Chocodile, the snack treat that lives on in my mind.
Wasn't Sobek a Captain Marvel secondary character?
I don't know, Sobek is also
Probably.
an Egyptian god.
And an Egyptian god of, like the Nile. I don't know if he's not of the dead, but of rivers or alligators or eating people or something.
Yeah. And so we freed the people that were in there, which included Bran Zavak, is that his name? I have it written down here somewhere. Kabak.
Kabak is the elder.
Excuse me, with K-H. Kabak.
He's the elder. He's
did actually
alive.
write this down. And along with some ne'er-do-wells from a local kind of group of thugs, fought that off, and then John presented us basically a series of options. We could either go to the temple and try to save some cultural artifacts, presumably, or go to the library. We opted for the library because I was convinced at this point that this was demonic related, and so I wanted to go there to get something on the demons that are deep in the mountains. And then from the library, we found some stuff and then made our way out to the armory, where we picked up some basic equipment, some basic traveling gear, weapons, armor, things like that, and then made it to the gate with lava and hellfire at our heels, trying to get out. So by this point, we've got a couple dwarves. I'm playing a human, and who is a diplomat and sort of exile to the dwarves, and Miranda's playing an elf who has a blood debt to one of the dwarven elders. And we get to the gate, and one of the guys that's supposed to be on our side, he's a wizard apprentice to the chief dwarven wizard, and we came to find out that his spell book and some other things had these demonic sigils in them. And we went to bust our way out, and he blocked us, and so I tried to frighten him with Dissonant Whisper, and in the process killed him. And we found out
Turned out it was a careless whisper.
It was a careless whisper.
I hope you don't have a guilty feeling.
I may never dance again, at least not the way I danced with him. And so upon getting rid of him, we came to find out that they had been holding Golem, which is Ed's character, who is a dwarf who is the offspring of a dwarf and a more or less a demon, a succubus or something to that effect. And
it's always a succubus.
They were holding him in some kind of like catatonic state, or knocked him out or something. And so we'd freed him, and we had gotten to the gates, and I believe gotten the gates open and just gotten outside the sunlight in the fields beyond, or the valley, or whatever's out there. And that was where we left the prior game.
That is correct. Now, Ed, when that all was happening, you had been ambushed had hold person cast upon you by your former master, Lutrig, the leader of the little cell of 4 wizards that the clan had, tied up and beat over the back of the head. So when you came to, this whole catastrophe was happening in front of you, right inside the doors, and then these guys rescued you by melting Dagrath's head with a careless whisper. However,
solo.
Yes, it is. That's Edwin's song now. However, you do have information that none of the rest of them have, which is that it was Dagrath and Lutrig themselves who came into the wizard library, froze you and the other apprentice who they sacrificed, which you saw before your own eyes, and which shortly after that, I don't know if Dan touched on this or not, the library was full of closets. There were 3 imps. It was super hot. They were centipedes when they were scouted out. They had turned into bats by the time the good guys showed up. But there's some kind of demonic tomfoolery going on here that you guys got out of just in time.
And they had sacrificed the apprentice in the middle of a summoning circle on the floor of the library, and so I had to go through, I don't know, whatever the reverse of desecration is to...
Consecration.
Sure. Even though I'm
not sure. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, I realized literally, but I meant, I don't know.
He just broke the sigil.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't consecrating. I don't know, my character's particularly religious.
I suppose.
But I just
had the opposite of desecrating.
Resecrating.
Yes, I was obfuscating.
There we go.
Wait, you were secreting? That's not good.
Yes, I was oozing.
Well, some kinds of demons.
I was oozing Usher-like onto the... No, we broke the circle and got the guy's corpse out of it to stop the demon gate as much as we could, and there was a particular demon or type of demon, I forget the demon's name, but we have his emblem, and it's actually in the front, because I got... What's it?
Thrakgash.
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 Thrakgash. Because I am actually keeping notes. Okay, so Thrakgash. And I have a copy of his emblem, because there were 2 things I managed to grab on the way out, including a book of demonology that they had carved his emblem into. And, well, I have something else. We'll handle that in roleplay. I actually have a couple things. We'll handle them in roleplay.
All right. That is the story so far. Golem, you have come to. You've got a little bit of a headache, but you're now lucid for the first time since the events of this campaign started to unfold some hours ago. There are 36 other dwarves with you that have just broke the surly bonds of the dwarf hold and gotten out of the hellfire in time, including Kabak, most of the gang that you guys were holed up in there with the moles. You also notice that the guard who was down there wondering where the heck everyone else was is among the survivors, milling around, looking extremely confused.
Prison guard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the one who had the key and wouldn't give it to you.
So, John, this is 36 out of how many? What was the census population of that?
3.2 million.
3.2 million. No,
wow, this is a SimCity level catastrophe.
Like high 100s. Most of the dwarves are unaccompanied for. Maybe
okay, so we have less.
200.
Okay, so we have less than 10% of the population here.
Oh no, not like approaching 1,000, like approaching 200.
Okay. So you say high hundreds, you mean within single hundreds. Yeah. Okay, so we have maybe 20% of the population here.
Yes.
Okay.
And most of them are not the warriors. The Iron Guard and the Adamantine Guard are nowhere to be found.
And maybe lava. You don't really know.
That is, as of yet, uncertain with the information you have.
Well, the warriors were trying to get to Coney Island, so... Yeah.
That's right.
Will the number of the population left surviving change at the beginning of every episode with no continuity whatsoever?
No, this is not Battlestar Galactica.
I started chalkboard.
That's your character. You can do whatever you want.
So, do I currently see the book of the demonology? I have seen it, correct?
You know what it is. It was in the library that you studied in. That depends on how Edwin is holding it. Edwin, if you have it out in your hands, it's clearly visible to Golem. If you've got it tucked in a rucksack or something, then it's not.
No, I was able to grab 5 books, and all 5 of them are in my backpack.
Okay, so you don't see it immediately.
I'm not going to hide it from you. It just is not out at the moment. We'll get to that.
It was more if I can recall any information on what Thrakgash might be through my religion or arcana skills.
I will give you the knowledge roll of your choice for information about Thrakgash, since you would be directly involved.
When Golem's awake enough to accept items, I'm going to give him back his spellbook because I remember I found that.
You did indeed. Golem, congratulations. Your spellbook was stolen and recovered in the span of 1 head wound.
Oh, can't lose this. Thank you. I truly appreciate you finding this. I also appreciate the fact that I don't remember losing it, but now I have it, so I'm strangely at peace with this.
Good.
It was on you when you got bludgeoned.
Oh, it's rather dishonorable, clubbing someone with a head and taking their stuff like some kind of murderous brigand or homeless ne'er-do-well.
John, I'm going back toward the gate. I recognize there's seeping lava or whatever, but I'm going back toward the gate, trying to see, are there any stragglers? Is there anyone coming out? I mean, I'm looking, whether in vain or not, for any kind of higher escape route or any sign there are other people other than these 36 that...
Okay. The door isn't like a geyser of lava right now. It's not a sea of flame, but it's still very, very, very hot. There are belches of fire coming out at unpredictable but frequent intervals, and you do not see anyone else who's scrabbling out here. You can see into the Great Hall, and objects and walls and floors are visibly charred at this point, and it's getting worse with every gout.
Okay, I'm going... So, the trampled and head-crushed body of Alfric, I am dragging away from the lava and out into the open.
Okay. He has lost his beard and his eyebrows and hair, and he's a little singed in the skin, but his corpse is more or less in one piece still. Golem, you don't remember anything about Thrakgash, which is sad because you're a dweefling and a student of the arcane, but you also rolled a 1. So, welcome to Roll20. The rolls in this random number generator have not been particularly generous. You'll fit right in.
Can I knowledge religion?
Yes, you can. You can, George.
All right, I'm gonna.
You are a trained.
Try and help Ed recall. We're gonna have a study session while they.
Game. I wrote down demon lore and swamp snakes. If that helps anybody.
John, I'm kind of watching all the big brain types get together and trying to figure out what's going on. I'm keeping an eye on Golem.
We're talking about the weather. It's a weather god.
Yeah, totally weather. Evil weather.
Okay, Bran,
really deep.
You see Alban and Golem having this conversation, and you're not a trained diplomat, but sometimes it's just real obvious. These two are making suggestions. Neither of them know what they're talking about, and they're kind of hoping to start the other one going so they can go, oh yeah. And it's just and remember when we read in volume 7 about his demon tongue, and the other one's like, oh yeah, I remember that part, and this is just going back and forth. And it could not be any more clear to you, Bran, that they don't know. They're not getting anywhere.
You've seen this conversation at a bar at 1 a.m. where neither one really knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
They're just
This is Cliff and
You,
Norm.
you
hanging out.
had this conversation with Kabak when he confuses you for your father and talks about all the wars you were in together. And you're just like, oh yeah, Kabak, remember when we killed that troll? And he's like, oh, I'm never going to forget that. And
Awesome. Well, so these guys, I was gonna kind of keep an eye on Gollum because usually when people gather around, it doesn't go very well for him. And I was gonna kind of keep an eye on him, but everybody seems to be kind of milling around and dazed. So I'm gonna try to start gathering people up and whipping them into shape. I mean, not having to do push-ups and shit, but saying, okay, who's here? Is there anybody here who's in charge? Do we have any food? Does anyone know what's going on? And basically, try to make sure everybody's together. And I want to make sure that if somebody's looking for their mom, you can maybe find their mom, or get people together. Basically, just keep people from panicking, keep people together.
okay. Chad, give
That's
me a
good, man.
charisma roll. I'm not going to make a riot break out if you roll a 1, but I want to see how quickly these people are
You mean win.
getting into line.
Yeah.
What's the roll thing again? Is it
Or
there's a
slash
little
roll
D-
space
or that,
D20.
yeah.
Plus whatever modifier you have.
Give yourself a +2 to that also, Chad, because Kabak is helping you.
okay? I have a +1 charisma save. Should I?
All right, so that'll be a D20 +3. And this will not be a particularly brutal difficulty class, since people are looking for someone to tell them, what do we do now?
Oh, there's the roll.
I forgot to add my intelligence modifier, but that still wouldn't have helped a 1 on top of my proficiency.
Hey, somebody
Hey,
can
wow.
Oh, that's good,
All
Bran.
right.
You tell everyone what's next. Me and Gollum are figuring this out.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
we got the weather
I'm
figured
trying.
out.
All right, so they all fall into line, and everything is going perfectly smoothly. And you notice 2 of the older lady dwarves kind of muttering very low and glancing at Golem just a little bit too much. And you go engage them in conversation, tell them to fit in line.
No, I don't engage them in conversation. I immediately put them to work.
Okay.
I don't care if it's gathering sticks, rounding up children, cooking something out of nothing. I just totally divert their attention and completely occupy them with work.
Was their gaze upon me palpable? Was it very obvious, or were they trying to be secretive about it?
They were trying to be secretive about it, but they're church ladies, so they're really bad at it, and Bran was able to tell.
Wondering
Alright,
if Golem noticed. Probably
Yeah.
not. You're probably used to that by now.
Yes, but
I'm used to it, doesn't mean
Bran
it
was
doesn't-
looking for that, among other concerns, like, okay, when are they going to get the pitchforks out and say this is all Golem's fault? And you only caught a little whiff of it with these 2. But when you tell them to go gather berries because we're about to move out, they just agree very enthusiastically. They don't need any prodding or bullying at all, and they scamper off into the brush.
Gollum, look busy. We don't know what happened.
I
Just look
grab
like you know what we're doing.
I grab my spell book, I lift it up, and I kind of look around with a furrowed eyebrow. That middle manager, I don't have anything to do, but I'm doing something important look.
Yes.
I would like to be talking with Kadak when he's not helping round people up.
Okay. Kabak claps Bran on the shoulder and says, "You fought well, son. You're taking charge. I'm going to leave these people in your care." And then he kind of catches on to the fact that Enna's trying to talk to him, and he saunters over Enna and says, "Well, that was certainly something."
Old man.
Did you say anything after that's one way to put it, Miranda? I see your lips still moving, but
She just
no
said
audio
old
for a second.
man.
Said old man.
I said, now what, old man? But let me reload. Alright, I'm back.
Okay, that's clear. He said, "I haven't seen anything like that in all my centuries." Iron Guard doctrine and even Adamantine Guard is designed to defend a threat from outside. The larders were full. The gates were impregnable. No host of orcs or hobgoblins or ogres or dragon that isn't the size of one of the world-ending worms could have cracked that fortress open. But something came from beneath, and we weren't ready. Idiots. And I'm an idiot, too. I should have seen it. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to leave this place forever and make what life we can for the folks that got out along with us. Part of me wants to die back in there and die on my feet.
Well, we can't send these people back in. Most of them aren't combat ready.
Does Bran hear all this?
Yeah.
Bran kind of saunters over and Calback and says, going back in there and dying on your feet is not going to do anything for anybody except get you dead. And emotions to be like, these people need you. They need your stories. They need your legend. They need your wisdom, not your death. Leave death to youngsters like me and, emotions to any of the other fighters, of which there are none. He's like, glory like that should be ours, not yours. We need your wisdom now.
You're damn right. That was just my guts talking. I knew in my head that that would be a waste of my life and yours, and by extension all of theirs, because these people can't defend themselves, and we both know it. Well, the way I see it, we have two honorable choices. Khazad-heim and Mountain 78. I don't know which of these I've told you about more, but Khazad-heim is the old iron mine. It's so old, I didn't even grow up there. That was where my own grandfather was from. We haven't had a dwarven presence there in centuries. But I bet if we got a little lucky and I racked my brain a little bit, we could find that thing. It's small. It's way too small for the tribe as it grew, but it probably will fit us if we can find it. Mountain 78 is another story. What's that, Anna?
Doesn't nobody ever come back from there?
No, you're thinking of Mountain 78, a place so dastardly the colonists didn't even get back to give it a name. The diviners and the surveyors were damn certain that there was adamantium in that place, and we sent a expedition out to find it and report. They never came back. Now, some of the simpletons in that crowd think it's haunted or something. I don't know if I believe that. I think we just had one bad war party that came into some bad luck. But there's no doubt that something about that place ain't right. Wouldn't be my first choice to start colonizing it with all the women and orphans and children. But if we could find adamantium there, we could have all the gold we ever needed to rebuild our society.
Yeah, but if it needs to be secured, this is not the group to secure it.
Hell no. We don't even have a town guard, much less an attacking army. Not yet, anyway.
Who all was able to overhear this conversation? Everyone, or is this kind of more?
No, this is everybody.
Okay.
All the player characters can hear this.
Yeah, as soon as Bran gets people occupied and there starts to be like a huddle of real talk, I stop what I'm doing and my stick and immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, when they're talking about Mountain 78, my eyes kind of light up and I start thinking, well, the two choices you've presented have shown either someplace where we have no presence and odds are it was abandoned because the iron's been depleted and leads to no gold and then no food and then starvation. Whereas the other has rumors of veins of adamantium that could sustain us for centuries, millennia even, but no one's come back from and has certain doom, death, destruction, and foul magics. my instinct goes for the foul magic's death and doom because, as long as we know what we're walking into, even if it is just vague evil, we stand a fighting chance of rising as a clan to greater glory. And as I'm talking, I'm kind of touching my goat horns, almost nervously.
So how far is one away from the other? Can we...
The what?
One as like a base to go and explore the other?
You could definitely make it on foot between the two in a matter of a couple weeks. So they're not neighbors, but they're also. It's not like walking the Oregon Trail to get there, a life-altering, irreversible event.
Yeah, we just had the life-altering, irreversible event right now. So
Yeah.
We got that out of the way. Good for us.
Okay, John. I don't even know what I would roll for this, but being a dweeaboo and all this, but also being from the Overland, do I know of anything in the area, and in the area could be a day or two's walk from here, that is something like a pseudo-colonizable cave that might have mushrooms, that might have a food source?
Give me bardic knowledge. Give me an intelligence roll.
Straight intelligence.
And you can modify that by your proficiency bonus, because
Okay.
I'm going to make that just general bardic grab bag knowing stuff.
Okay, so /roll /fail d20 plus int is 3 plus proficiency is 2. Wow.
Wow!
I kick aside a few rocks and pull up the mushrooms.
All right. What am I? I'm going to give you more than you asked for a 20. First off, yes, exactly what you were trying to rack your brain to think of. A small mushroom farmable cave. You know where there is one barely half a day's walk away. However, you also know that a little bit out of the way, on the way to that place, probably another half day askew from where you are now, is a halfling farmer named Rodney, who famously grows cabbage for as far as the eye can see. And you're pretty sure that he would give you a fair deal on some leafy greens, and even if you presented a credible sob story, which you hardly get more credible than this, he might even give you something.
All right. I drop Alfric's body with this look of like, the first time when you're a little kid and you break something, you have this moment of how do I put this back together, and there's no doing so. You knock over a vase.
Yeah.
That's kind of the look that I have on my face regarding this dead dwarf. And having spent the past several minutes in stunned silence looking for ossuaries and other things that obviously aren't here, I dazedly make my way over towards where...
As you're doing that, Dan, Alban, you notice that Edwin has procured the burnt-up corpse of Alfric. In almost any conceivable circumstance, you would give a fallen dwarf the rights that would allow him to be ferried into the halls of his ancestors. However, Alfric just tried to block the door, and you're not really sure what he was in on or what he was trying to do. And before you could find out, his brains got melted out of his ears. So it is your immediate instinct, having seen a dead dwarf right in front of you, to administer the appropriate rites. But it's up to you whether you decide to actually do it or not.
So I
give him the rights, and I will pile stones on him, leave a mark of the ancestors, and I will say a prayer, basically saying you are left for the ancestors to judge.
Do I have enough time as a ritual to cast protection from evil over the body or over the grave site?
Yeah. That takes what, like an hour?
Yeah, something like that at level 1.
Okay. So Alban starts making a stone cairn, an above ground grave, just a pile of rocks. Traditionally, dwarves are buried underground, but that's not really an option right now. So in times of great need, they can make a simple cairn. And he starts going over the appropriate ancestral rites. Golem, as he's putting the finishing touch on that, you cast protection from evil as a ritual. Most of the other dwarfs start helping Alban as soon as they see what he's doing, and you guys can help or not help or do whatever you want as you choose.
Not me.
I go by Brian and Kavik, and I get down on my knees on the ground, and I start sketching in the. I'll go by the picture. So I start sketching the snow. I say, okay, so this is the Ironblood hold that we just left. If you go just a short walk this direction, there, centuries ago, there was a small side cavern that was actually kept by King Marin II as an emergency food source in case something ever happened to besiege this keep. I think it was once connected by underground caverns. They've long collapsed. But the farms there are still intact. We could stop there and get samples that we could carry with us to wherever we're going to set up a food source. Now, we have 36 miles to feed in the meantime. Even once we get these mushrooms planted, they're not going to grow immediately. We don't have any livestock. But I know of a farmer not too far from here. His name's Rodney. I spent the night there on my way to this mountain when I was first sent here by my family. And Rodney has a farm, and he has enough excess food that, with some gold to trade and perhaps some other items that I think even I personally have, we can probably get him to provide us with some basic food and some starting livestock to keep ourselves fed and to help seed wherever it is that we end up living. But I recommend stopping by these two places post haste, lest we have 36 people walking and falling on empty stomachs.
Sounds like a plan.
Well,
Absolutely. Well done.
what if we divide up? What if we send the bulk of the, for lack of a better term, the new colony, let them get settled, while at the same time we go and procure some food for them?
Isn't that risky? With no adamantine or iron guard, who would protect from all manners of threats?
The idea of
It's only half a day. How far is this in Dwarfhold?
Kazenheim is a good 2 weeks at least overland without the use of beasts.
No, I mean
What's
the
a day?
Okay, how far is the
The mushroom hold is only like 5-6 hours away walking.
Oh, okay. I got that wrong then.
Also,
Then yeah, we'll need to get your food first for the journey.
there may be social and psychological value as well, because if we have 36 refugees, the way halflings think, I don't know how many of them you've encountered, but to have this many people, for them to see the need, it's going to have an effect on them that simply hearing about it won't have. I think as crazy as it is to say, we actually do stand to gain something by dragging these survivors in front of this halfling. It gives him something he can't ignore.
Well, and we'll need the. We can start off from Rodney's location. So let's head over there now.
As I finish up the protection from evil ritual, I take out my crystal hammer and kind of tap on the cairn to finish it off, and the runes erupt in kind of like a sickly golden hue. Because even my positive spells are kind of charged with the infernalness of my deep character and such. It's like, all right, I wish I could tone down the creepy for that. Sorry.
All right, I will chisel, and I'll chisel like a
Dwarf?
Nope. That's racist.
Oh, sorry. As the group starts making its way in the direction that I've pointed out, I hang to the back and kind of slow Golem down a bit. Say, I know what happened in there didn't directly involve you. It may have involved your parentage, but it didn't involve you. They don't know that. And they're going to be looking for somebody to blame. Well, especially once they find their senses, they're going to have a lot of anger. And every good dwarven story needs a villain.
I've been a villain my whole life. That doesn't change anything. That's why I stayed in my books and the libraries and...
But never until this have they had an actual cause to kill you, apart from simply what you are. Now something has happened.
Well,
Brand goes walking by on his way to the group, and he kind of bops Golem on the side of the arm with his hammer, because he still has his whole full kit. He's like, he ain't a villain, he's family. And he keeps walking through.
Well said, Brand's much worse than you.
Not that right.
Golem, also, I know that your magics are of the same style. I take off my pack and I pull out of it a book that I hand to you. This is Alfric's spellbook. If there's anything in there that you can use for yourself or use to discern what they might have been doing, then it's yours. I have no use for it. And
I'll study it greatly. I know whatever's in here, if it's not of use, at least can give us the answers.
Okay. So
points to find them.
Add to your inventory Alfric's spellbook. That was actually an item I looted last game. And then I pulled a second book. I managed to grab the Tome of Demonology. Inside the cover here, I've done quite a bit to defile it, but this is the sigil that they had inscribed on the floor. And I haven't had a chance to look through it, but I'm confident if this Thrakgash was recorded anywhere in Dwarven lore, then he's got to be in this book somewhere.
Taking the book and having heard the name Thrakgash, but not come up with anything, I'm going to go ahead and tag my researcher ability. Where would I know where to find the information? Gash, is there a library or a city somewhere that might have that knowledge? That's not ours.
Well, the book that Edwin recovered is actually a good place to start. If you were able to get some face time with a trained demonologist, you'd probably be able to learn more. Those guys are hard to come by. Demonology is a taboo subject, and the nearest thing that the Dwarfhold had was you, or at least the nearest thing that the Dwarfhold had openly. It turns out half the rest of the wizards might have been secret warlocks the whole time. But
secret warlocks.
If Thrakgash isn't in this book, I've not had a chance to look. It's going to be a journey, or maybe I can send a message if we can find a messenger. But my family is affiliated with a wizarding academy that I attended. It's where I learned the basics of magic, only the basics, I'm afraid. I'm not nearly as advanced as you are. But I can send a message back to them. They have an entire library at their disposal. Surely they would be able incidentally, I also have the researcher thing, so that's where I'm tagging it to. Is since I'm a bard and it's in my background that I bombed out of wizard school, somewhere in my background I attended something along the lines of like the Forgotten Realms Candlekeep or something. Flunked out of it, but nonetheless, do know people there. But we can send a message back to them and see what they have to say if he's not in this book.
Let's find out. Ed, roll me a percentile dice. Low is bad, high is good. In increasing degrees of precision, first off, the mere presence of Thrakash, and then higher as you go, actionable info.
All right, rolling percentile. That is bad. That's really bad.
Okay, yeah. He is in an index of known infernal lords. That's it.
Well, we know he's a lord, infernal at that. Somewhere in the realm of pit and hell and bad, just really, really bad. But the knowledge we had here was only a place to go look for it, not really so much any detailed notes.
Right.
I'm afraid I was the only one willing to even try to learn about that, and that was more for personal knowledge rather than trying to defend against something like this.
All right, I tucked the book back into my pack. So best not to let anyone see you in particular looking at this book. And John, instead, you said that I had a 2-volume set that was a history of the Ironblood. That was like their epic poem of the clan up to this point.
You have a sort of full, broad but not particularly deep history, and interspersed among all the ritual knowledge and overblown legends is a bunch of basic information that they codified way early on about digging safe walls, farming, keeping track of one's ancestry, and why it's illegal for anyone who's related to fight one another, and oh, by the way, we're all related. The sort of bedrock documentation of their society, along with some really practical advice.
Okay.
You hauled off with that.
Then what I'm doing, John, is as we're walking, and I'll roll perform if you want me to. I'm not trying, per se, for particular effect mechanic-wise, but I'm trying to find passages in the book, or these books, to read that I think would be inspirational as opposed to twisting the knife. So, for example, if I find, like, I know dwarves are big into lineage. If I look to my left and I see, so-and-so the dwarf, I might read the lineage of that clan to remind him or her of what they have to carry on. Or if I find a story about, dwarves under duress starting this grand new society from nothing, I might read that story as a way of kind of just trying to remind everyone of who and what they are.
You find a particularly pertinent legend that you'd never really paid attention to before, about a patriarch dwarf lord who had 5 sons and 5 daughters, and in the course of fighting, all 10 of them were warriors, and they died down to 1 daughter. But she held on. She defeated many foes, and her own children and grandchildren repopulated the line, and now a good third of the remaining dwarves in the dwarfhold and among the survivors can trace their lineage to her or one of her very close relations. It's sort of a parable, legend, to call it what you will, that's often invoked in times of extreme duress about how even if you beat a dwarf family down to 1 person, they're not dead yet.
Okay. Then that's what I'm reading, and I'm doing it toward the back, so anyone who doesn't want to hear this right now could easily get away from me, but anyone who would be inspired by it would hear it.
They're pretty receptive. They're keeping pace with you. Most of them are. Some of them are kind of off by themselves, but That's doing good.
And I'm sure
So-
this is interspersed with me stumbling and yelling "fuck" every so often as I kick a rock or trip over something because I'm reading while walking.
Yes.
And we're underway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I am taking a head count of, basically I'm making a list. The names and families of every single person we have. And I'm pretty much doing a head count. Every time we stop camp, before we leave, I do a head count, no one left behind sort of thing.
Okay. You keep close track. Nobody gets left behind.
Right.
You notice that most of your fighting shape survivors are members of the moles, but they all have really nice daggers now that the adamantine guard gave them some, and really nice studded leather now that they raided the armory with you. And they're not up to any of their usual monkey business, so that's good.
While we're going along, oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, he said they're not up to any of their usual monkey business. I'm like, well, not that we see or notice.
True.
As we're going along, I'm actually going to go through Alfric's spellbook. What am I seeing written in it? Not particularly the spells, but maybe his liner notes and, how is he written? Is it written more with dwarvic runes? Is he writing with some other language?
Alfric's spellbook clearly used to look a lot like yours. It starts out in neat dwarven runes. There are intelligible wizard spells. You can see sleep, you can see magic missile, you can see charm person, or what's left of them in recognizable dwarven wizard script. However, he has heavily defaced the first few pages with demonic imagery of Thrakgash, and as they go along, he's no longer actually writing intelligible arcana-based spells. He's taking scattered, raving demonological notes, and you can derive from that you're pretty sure at some point he was no longer being fueled by the spells in this book and was getting whatever it is that he got from a demonic pact.
So this is like the math book of a 13-year-old metalhead.
Kind of, yes.
I was going to say, or more like the journals and autobiography of Sirhan. That's
Awesome.
descent into madness.
So the ravings and the switchover with Thrakgash, is that actually in Infernal or is it a different language?
No, it's in Dwarven.
Okay, it's still Dwarven.
But it's not in. There's Dwarven and there's Dwarven. The spells that you've written in your spellbook are extremely precise. You draw the strokes in the correct order. Everything is to a uniform length and width. Your master, Lutrig, was pretty careful about that, and you were careful about that because you don't make it to a single class level of wizard unless you're pretty darn conscientious about how you write in your spellbook. That breaks down, and when it gets into the demonic raving, he's just writing as fast as he can.
Ed, are you Pact to the Toe? Are you even Warlock or are you Wizard?
I'm a
No, he's a
wizard.
wizard.
So I will any spells that he has written in there that I don't have. Eventually, like whenever we take a rest or get time to, I'd like to add them to my spell book.
Okay. The beginning of his spellbook still has 3 spells that are sufficiently intact at first level that you could actually rip them out and use them. And they are Sleep, Magic Missile, and Mage Armor.
Cool. I just learned Magic Missile.
You've got Magic Missile.
Now I'm a real wizard.
Magic Missile. Well, you will when you rest.
Yes.
You can describe while you're walking.
That's right.
But I got you.
He's
All right. Are you guys
scrubbed
headed
for walking.
to the Mushroom Cave first or to Rodney's farm first?
Is there any logical reason in terms of path to do one before the other? Actually, if there's not, if it's basic triangle, I'm going to push to go to Rodney's first because I'm worried that if people get hungry enough, they're going to eat the mushrooms we're trying to seed with.
Yeah, and with this many people, we're going to need, like, at the very least, a mule or a cart or something.
Okay, you guys make it to the periphery of Rodney's cabbage farm in pretty short order, well under a day. No roll for random ancient red dragon attack or anything like that.
No.
I'm so ready for that.
And you call this Dungeons and Dragons.
You'll get your own soon enough. But you
I was
make it
promised
through-
giant centipedes, but I was bats.
They turn into bats.
Promise.
You say that, but I know. I was
Centipedes.
promised giant centipedes. That's
Okay.
all
No
I'm
one
saying.
promised you centipedes.
While Bran rages, I'm going to the door. I'm going to the door of the farmhouse and knocking on it.
Okay. You knock on the door of the farmhouse. Some of the hungrier dwarves among the supply train have snuck a cabbage or two off of the plants next to the road, but whatever. And after you knock a few times, you are greeted by two halflings side by side, a man and a woman, and you have met them both. They are Rodney the farmer and Sally his wife. And they glance at you for a second.
Before you go on, if anyone else tries to steal any more cabbage, I'm going to cast Goodberry and give that person a berry so that they stop stealing food before we can buy some food.
Okay. You see some people going for another cabbage, and then you generate a good berry, and they're like, hey, thanks. And they glance at you for a moment, Edwin, and say, we've met before, haven't we?
We have. I actually spent a night on the recommendation of my family.
That's right. You're that fop who wants to be a dwarf. Come on in. What are you doing back around here?
Fopping and trying to be a dwarf.
Well, some things never change. do
Some
they?
things never change at all. In fact, I have brought with me. I had a water skin that was once full of water, and in a drunken bout, one of the elders poured it out and insisted it be full of dwarven ale instead. And so I've been unable to drink it on my journey, but if you'd like to bring out some tankards, it would be my pleasure to pour out the finest that the caves of the Ironblood had to offer.
Oh, certainly. Come on in. Did you bring any friends? They're like looking over your shoulder, and Sally, like,
35 of
the
them.
smile kind of clenches a little bit, but Rodney's still oblivious.
The halfling missed the use of tense.
I appreciate your hospitality, but allow me to handle the discourtesy of suggesting perhaps we discuss business privately. Being dwarves, they're content sleeping on rocks and under rocks, but
Make sure Kavak gets in there with you, being the oldest.
Oh, okay.
Seeing as how Edwin's a racist and I'm a dwarf, I pull up a rock and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, come on in. They get out tankards. They already have a bottle of wine open, but they sort of push it off to the side.
Okay.
Of course they are. They're
Rodney
halflings.
drains his little cup before he gets out a new cup and fills it up with your ale and starts drinking that too.
okay.
So he's a little more restrained.
Something I would do.
Yes.
If there's time, I'll
George,
cast up.
you're Rodney.
I'll ritually do protection from evil over the door.
Okay. You guys can follow Edwin in too.
Rodney,
Who is inside and who is outside?
I'm staying
in.
outside to make sure nobody's stealing cabbage.
Yeah, I'm casting it from the inside, just in case the rest of our clan gets a little, they start getting a little bored and a little angry and want to take their rage out on someone.
Okay. Albin, when you walk inside and
Rowdy.
they greet you, Golem, they do a double take on you with your demon horns, but they don't quite break hospitality. They're like, hello, sir. Do you know Edwin?
Oh, I do. We're good friends.
every 30 or 40 Wonder Dwarves grow those. They fall out. It's just...
Oh, that's
No,
weird.
these are Edwin. I appreciate
Yes,
that. but
they're
these are
just
mine.
molting.
He gets an extra cup out for you guys. And Brand, are you asleep on a rock?
No, I'm actually outside. I think my broadcasting on the thing. this stupid thing. So anyway, yeah, Brand is outside. He is actually they all go inside. He starts getting the people who are like milling about. He starts ordering them about, like chopping firewood, getting buckets for water, cleaning up the yard, doing chores. I mean, he lets them rest. I mean, he's not a cruel taskmaster, but to him, idleness is when problems will start.
Yeah. It doesn't take too long for Brand to see like a stump that's out of place and blocking things, and a length of fence that's broken down. He finds Harvest Moon jobs for the survivors that are milling around outside, and they pet the cows and talk to the cows, and everyone's happy, and they get large milk. No, there's no cows.
I was about to say, surely he has to be able to find a Harvest Moon level problem.
Yes, there are plenty of Harvest Moon level problems here. This is a pretty darn big estate for a halfling couple to take down. You don't know if they have kids yet. There's nothing obvious around here, but they don't have the 19 cousins and uncles that a similarly sized dwarven operation would inevitably have.
So, Rodney, I happen...
There's a real halfling.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the halflings.
Actually, I happened to be in the area, and I was thinking to myself, who has the best damn food, and who is a sharp businessman to know an opportunity when they see it? And what comes to mind but the field foot? And so I got to thinking, was there a field foot in the area? And of course, yours was the first farm to come to mind. And
Rodney pulls up a stool and puts his giant, ugly field foot up on it in proud display, and it smells pretty bad.
Yeah,
he was not like. It doesn't look like he's trying to be offensive. He looks proud.
Oh yes, and I'm completely playing along. I'm totally not reacting to this. Probably prepared for it. Probably have encountered this at least once before.
Yes.
And so I was wondering if you happen to have any type of labor animal, a mule, an ox, something that we might be able to trade for, along with some provisions for just a trip from here. Look, my family's a merchant family as well. I know that so much of the cost of an operation such as yours goes into the transport, the distribution, hiring guards to protect the goods. Whereas if someone simply purchases at the point of production, it changes everything in terms of the financials. And that, my friend, in return for the hospitality that you showed me so many winters past, is what I want to offer you. Is your harvest, at least one labor animal, maybe even a little bit of livestock. I want to purchase right here, right now, and take custody of a responsibility for, without you having to all of this back to far places under guard, or wait for a passing merchant to haggle with, try and move such fine meat and produce.
Well, you don't have to sell me on being a farmer, Edwin. I know how this works. Sure. We'll sell you a bunch of cabbages. If you want an ox or something, we'll sell you one of those too. What the hey? Why not? You've got good coin. Dwarves don't debase their metal.
No, absolutely not. To add impurities to a metal would actually, it's an all but religious offense to them.
I'm sure it is. He looks over at Alden. Hey, is that a religious offense to you?
Yes. Yes, it would
Okay,
be.
great. It's a secular offense to me to get ripped off. How ecumenical.
Great. Okay, so John, before we begin the negotiations here, I actually do have a copy of the player's handbook handy. So here's my base line of negotiation. And I just want to make sure this is good with you, because otherwise I need to rethink my approach. Okay? So this is me asking, not dictating. This is not me rules lawyering.
The approach? Begging.
No. Okay, so we
should maybe mention the salt story of how we're.
Oh, that'll be in there. That'll be in there. But I'm starting with the base financials here. Okay, so I have 10 gold pieces in cash. That part's easy.
Okay, good.
I also, you said the dagger that I got was masterwork, which at least, I don't think masterworks exist anymore, but at least in 3X, a masterwork added a full 100 gold pieces to the value of the item. So I think
Yeah, we're shooting around that range.
Okay.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean that Rodney has 100 gold worth of use of a dagger, but it's a nice dagger. It's worth a lot of cabbages.
Precisely. Okay. So looking in the player's handbook, a basic beast of burden is actually pretty cheap. So a donkey or a mule goes for only about 8 gold pieces. So I could buy that in cash straight out.
How much is a cart?
That's what I'm getting to. A basic
You
wagon.
put the horse before the cart.
All right, so just in terms of raw value, and I know before we get to the haggling, so the donkey itself is about 8 gold pieces. The wagon for it is 35, so that takes us up to 43. There's not a price, at least in this book, for cattle, but let's say I want to get a couple goats or something. So, and then if I go over up to the next column, like a pound of wheat is a copper piece. I mean, it's freaking cheap as hell.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of grain for not a lot of money.
Chickens?
We don't have to get into like
okay,
how many silver is a bushel worth.
Well, right. The point
commodities trading on the Chicago Stock Exchange.
Right.
Like
right. I didn't want to get to the point I was trying to make is
Not
that
the stock exchange, it's the commodities market. Come on, John.
oh, whatever.
the point I was trying to make, like I said, it's not. No, I don't want to nickel and dime this out. But the point I was trying to make is the donkey, a cart, a pretty good amount of food, and even some livestock on the side, like some chickens or something, to add some protein to our mushroom diet, is well within the range of what I have the financials to purchase. So I could stock us with enough to eat for 2 weeks, and also enough left over to, assuming we keep people under control and they're not eating the chickens on the way,
yes,
to set up our new ecosystem.
No.
So
the challenge of this campaign is not, oh God, how are we going to afford the sorghum?
Sorghum crop.
Among the effects of the people in your group, the strong boxes that they managed to get away with, the precious metals kind of stuff, I'm just going to rule that you guys have enough to get a cart, a donkey, and
to load
a couple of
with some
sacks of grain and some
chickens,
relatively fresher,
goats.
all that stuff.
Okay, all right.
There's some GM out there who has been dying to run a sheet full of checkboxes with a grid and a spreadsheet about how many eggs get laid per day, depending on how well you feed the chickens. That guy's not me.
Right. What I was the only thing I was trying to demonstrate is that even without going to their possessions, which I don't want to do, that I personally have in my possession enough to purchase this. That's what I was trying to assert. Because that's the way I'd like to do this, because these are already people dispossessed. I think it would bother Edwin morally to be like, I'm going to take more of what they have.
You know what should bother Edwin morally is the fact that you have not negotiated a single ounce of ale.
In fact, you're in negative ale because you gave a good
negative ale, Edwin. 36 floors. Negative ale.
Golem, you notice something alarming. There is a luxurious triangular wine rack pyramid of bottles of dark red wine in this place. You do not see a keg. You do not see a cask. The only ale in here is in the skin that Edwin just poured out.
Oh my gods.
I motioned for him to hush. And so with all this stuff, we've done the nickel and diming, assuming me and Mr. Fieldfoot here did our Excel spreadsheet. I lay it all out and say, So what do you say? Do we have a deal?
Okay, you can't buy the whole supply train just liquidating the Masterwork Dagger. You can get close to like the cart and the horse and stuff with the coins you have on hand, but it will require a collection to get.
Anna's
barrels of
got
stuff.
210 gold.
That will do it. That will do it
So
easily.
if you want to
Holy
stick your
shit.
head out,
Okay.
we're
then
approaching. The party was discussing their personal finances. She
Okay.
would have mentioned that.
Then once I realize that I don't have enough on me to get the full provisioning, then yes, I will take a collection. But I will be fairly picky in that I don't want anything like somebody's heirloom ring.
Right, you don't want grandma's engagement ring.
Right.
You want. Why does the elf have $200,000 worth of hard cash on her right now? I'll take
Precisely.
half of that.
And these are like maple leaves or whatever silliness. This is like Monopoly money, so that's fine.
That's right. It's actually.
She thinks she has 200 gold. She just has like 200 nicely
They're really
freshly
shiny
picked
rocks, guys.
tree leaves that she grabbed on the way here.
She has a
I
can of
think-
tea, which she assumes, like in her culture, counts as money.
No, I've been hanging out with dwarves. They're shiny rocks.
Like an anorexic elf. You know, it's like she has no supplies. She has 5 weeks of rations, but it's just that little box of tea. Just, oh no, I'm fine. It's okay.
And by just a pure tragic coincidence of language, the elven word for tea is urine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go back and forth. Rodney's not driving a hard bargain. If you're going to buy it right here and it's going to go straight into the mouths of the orphans, you get to the point where if you give him 100 gold, he'll give you a donkey, a cart, and he will load that thing up with sacks upon sacks of grain, a bunch of vegetables, a couple of chickens, a couple of goats, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Then once we have that set up, I thank Rodney and Sally profusely. And I excuse myself and say, I can't imagine that a group of this size intruding upon your farm fields would be good for next year's planting. So, as much as I would love to spend the night and share stories, I think we must be on our way. And I find Bran. And
I thought you were telling the farmer about.
No.
It's like, oh, blah 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 blah. And I find Bran.
I find Bran disgusting.
Sorry, and I really apologize for it.
Sexy. No, okay, so once I have made my polite adieus to the halflings and drug my molting friend out of there, I find Bran and I show him this food-a-van of food. And I know we have a lot of hungry mouths, but anything that will grow in a cave has to make it to that cave. And you're the closest thing we
Like,
have.
how much ale did you get?
I got an ale kit.
Ale kit.
Woody walks in like, there's no ale. It's all wine. It's just wine. All of it.
I don't know why we had to ply him with the ale if we were going to pay market price.
You spent the ale? You paid a market price?
One of the moles hears this conversation break out. You're positive that before you guys got to this farm, there wasn't a Methuselah of dark red wine hanging off of this guy's back, like tied to him like a Christmas tree is to a car. But there is now. And he says, "Hey everyone, I don't know if you remember me. My name's Nurgrim. I just purchased this fine alcohol. If you require any wine in the future, come to me with your price once you're ready for it."
By the ancestors, Nurgrim.
What's that, Alvin?
By the ancestors, Nurgrim. Where did you get that wine that you did not have?
I bought it
Before
from
we stopped.
Rodney.
You
Where
bought
did you
it.
get that food? You think I picked his pocket and got this?
Nergrim, if I go in to the nice farmer and ask him about his latest dealings with our group, will he recall this dealing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I am going to go farmer friend, and we will see if he confirms this story. I walk in and I check. Just we can fast forward. Is this on the level?
Okay, you asked if a dwarf named Nergrim has just bought a Methuselah of wine, and they say, "Oh, you mean Frederick? That lovely gentleman that was dining with you guys? Of course. You paid us a fair price." There is no Frederick.
Frederick. But he don't follow, so I'm just going to walk out.
Long as he remembers selling the wine, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't... Okay, thank you again for your hospitality. Just... I was doing a head count. I lost track because I was in here. It was a head count. I have to go. And then I leave.
Okay.
Here you go, young dwarf. They go back to the bottle that they had opened before you guys came in and cracked the wineskin, and they just give it to you. There's only about a quarter of it left. Finish that off for us.
Sure.
Enjoy your doorway protected from evil now, Fields.
Thank you, dwarf that has goat horns.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, I apologize to Nergrim.
Okay.
He flashes a big old grin at you, having fully expected that you would fully expect that he stole it. He is a mole, and an incorrigible one at that, but he has a reputation as more of a fence and a con artist and a schemer. You don't recall in your many days of ministering to the people locked up in the dungeon that he ever actually got popped for like a fight or straight up robbery. Now, the people he hangs out with, yes.
The three peaks that you can see up there to the northwest, right, those. The next place we need to stop is in the middle of them.
You get a bead on the fungus cave, no problem.
While we're walking there, I'm reading a dwarven tale about how someone who was stingy with their ale to those in need was a total prick. And I'm reading this quite loudly, right, like 3 steps behind Nergrim.
This is fine. It's fine.
Nergrim.
I mean, I'm finding some like New Testament level parable about people that don't share their liquor are pricks, and that's what I'm reading. Well,
okay. Nergrim grimaces, and then he sighs, and then he reaches toward the bottle, and he stops reaching for it. You can see the drama of selflessness versus greed going on in his head. He's calculating, like, well, will it feel better to share it, or will it feel better to charge for it with the money that I get that I charge for it?
Can I roll persuasion?
Sure.
While this is going on, considering that my late father was a brewer itself, and from that I've taken some talent with alchemy, I'm going through my notes, telling the information on how to brew ale. I'm like, okay, this is fine. I can fix this.
Yeah, you've got that down pretty well. Okay, Edwin. Nergrim never admits that you're right, but
no dwarf ever admits they're wrong.
30 minutes after the parable is finished, you notice that a good 6 inches off the top of the Methuselah have been poured out, the cork is off, and a random assortment of slightly jollier dwarves walking around him in a circle all have flagons of wine in their hands.
Can't believe the insanity of this. We are vulnerable to bandits, we are a refugee party, and yet it's actually a good idea to get everybody a little bit plastered.
They're dwarves. It's fine.
I know. Yeah, they're high-functioning alcoholics. This is just kind of that middle zone they exist within. This is that kind of yellow-green color on the scale. This is where they bowl 150.
The curve absolutely applies to game mastering. Towhead Ale, Springfield, Missouri, Mother's Brewery. Okay, you guys make it to the cave that Edwin remembered, no problem. And sure as Tuesday, there are fungal blooms just growing by themselves with no attendance whatsoever inside this small cave. It's too small to serve as a shelter for everybody, but there's poop grain growing out of the ground, and translated out of Dwarven, that means mushroom.
Are any of our civilians, do any of them happen to know how to properly harvest this for replanting?
Oh yeah, in a cross section this wide in an economy this primitive, I'm not even going to roll from that. There are a handful of experienced, dedicated farmer dwarves in here, and they are able to harvest these mushrooms for future cultivation.
All right, we send them in, and they do the thing.
Yeah, unless you guys tell them to do something else, they sort of look to you for the cue and go in and start going at it.
I start shouting orders and getting people going, motivate them.
Basically, just tell them to do what they're doing.
Yep. Exactly. And if any mushrooms look at them weird, hit it with my hammer.
It is D&D. This can't happen.
Yeah, there's no myconids in here. I have done that before. I think one of the games of goblins I ran, they died to the myconid. Like, they let it out, and it just jumped from one to the other, and every single thing in the module was then a myconid that was then rapidly dead.
There's an awful lot of mushrooms between games with you and me, John.
The mushroom stamp from the Earthbound game in 2009. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
I didn't know what that was. In fact, I deliberately forgot until now. Thanks, Ed. See you at Gen Con in a week and a half. Okay. So you guys get the
Cons that had the mushrooms on the end of them, right?
Yeah.
And his character got smacked in the face. It left an imprint on his face. That's a mushroom stamp. That's a good one.
And it was. Was that the game where you brought the boombox and played the Ghostbusters song like every 10 seconds?
No, that was the next year.
Oh, okay. That was a good year. I'd just be sitting there playing, minding my own business, and then people started busting, and it made
Because busting feels good, John.
it does.
So as everyone's gathering mushrooms, I'll go back to studying Alfric's spell, but just trying to find information as to his ties to Threkosh. And
Okay. Give me a knowledge arcana.
Knowledge Arcana with proper modifiers this time, because I'm good at this theoretically. I'm okay at this.
You're okay at this. Okay. He eventually started to at least venerate, if not worship, this damn thing. He became a Threkosh cultist.
By grandfather's beard, this man was mad.
He was indeed. Quebec saunters over to the lot of you, looks around and says, well, we have food, we have a wagon. Now we just have to decide which place we go to. Kazadheim or Mountain 78?
Kazadheim.
You know how I feel. And he nods heavily over to Albin. But I'm the old man, and you're the new guard, so I'll do whatever you decide.
Have we gone far enough? This is probably where we're going. I don't mean as the game, I mean in the game, that this is probably where we're going to camp for the night.
Yes.
Okay. I was about to say stop for the night, and that would imply the game itself.
I don't know. Dwarves have dark vision. We could go all night.
You could, if you wanted to, sleep during the day and then march at night. Every single one of you has infravision.
Yeah, except
I don't think that would be wise.
The night is dark and full of horrors. Oh, that's right. Edwin, you don't. Damn.
I do.
He only wishes he had vision.
I've developed it in this like Lamarckian fashion.
poison resistance either, so he's gonna step on like a sea urchin in the dark, and it'll be terrible because he's not a dwarf in a dwarf game.
That's right.
Can
I tell you, Chad, how happy it made me that Miranda had to make a poison save in game 1 and failed because she didn't roll a freaking dwarf? Anyway.
we're gonna have to trek.
Yes, you can. It's a dwarf game.
Yeah, but we're gonna trek through the fucking wilderness before we get to start doing dwarfy things.
That's true. I'm gonna make you roll your elf crap to do this long journey.
Yeah.
You got for free because it was very close and because Dan rolled a 25.
We'd be making much better time if the two old ladies were able to ride on my Waymick back.
All
right, so
you haven't seen the last of the church ladies, believe me.
You haven't seen the last of my Waymick ambitions. So
I believe you there.
When we stop for the night, I'm lighting a candle, and I'm taking out my pen, and I'm making a very detailed account of, even if this means I'm totally missleeping that night, I'll take those penalties. I'm making a very detailed account of two things. First of all, everything that I know about what happened to the keep, from the moment in the barracks or the brig to where we're camping right now. I'm making a very detailed account of it. And then I am making a list of everyone that is present and tying their ancestry back at least as far as the epic poem. So wherever the epic poem ends, I'll say, it's A, son of B, son of C, son of D, or daughter, whatever, who is mentioned in this passage and verse of the poem here. And once that is done, I then take those pages first to Albin and then to Kavik and have them mark it with either seal or signature.
Kavik looks it over rather hastily and just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's not really careful about it. And he just writes an X on the page. You're pretty sure he's illiterate.
No,
Albin,
I absolutely would not believe that.
The lineage presented to you from Edwin looks pretty credible.
I trust Edwin's dwarven knowledge to a degree better than my own. I'm a man of faith. I will seal it with the holy symbol of the ancestors, giving us the full authority of the Church of Ancestors.
I then tuck those pages into the back of the second volume of the epic poem for rebinding later, thus to add to the clan story.
Cool.
John, Bran is trying to get a game of Three Dragon Ante going.
Bran has no problem doing that. The moles are hot to play any kind of gambling. And you see one of the younger dwarf boys looking around like, I wouldn't have gotten away with this back under our old lives, but let's see what they do. And he sits down and he starts playing. His strategy is basic, but he clearly knows the rules and like the etiquette of wagering, and he's not really committing any faux pas.
That's fine. Got to grow up sometime.
All right. With that, night one will fall, and we'll take our 5-10 minute potty refresh break or whatever. We'll call this the halfway plus point, and then we'll get underway to whichever of the two potential settlement sites the dwarves choose.
Okay, then I'm gonna.
Hey, don't stop the Twitch thing because that kicks everybody out and aces the chat. Just put up a Word document that says we'll be back in 10 minutes or something.
Let me see what I can do here. I have WordPad on here. There we go.
It's so weird watching the Twitch on a delay.
Yeah.
I don't have it open because I have semi-rural internet. It's so bad that I don't want stresses on it. But I'm delighted with how relatively smoothly using voice over Discord.
This setup has certainly... I've had to refresh a couple times to get the cameras back, but overall this setup has been far, far better. And I've also, of course, during the refreshes, never lost voice on anyone. So,
and I've noticed that if you wait long enough, like not all of the images will go out. Occasionally, one person will, and then another. But if you wait long enough, they'll come back. Like, you don't have to
I've had that happen to you, Chad. I've lost you several times to like a black square, but half a minute later, if that, you come back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to take 5 and I'll be right back.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going anywhere.
I actually will be right back.
So, Chad, good to see you again over the magic of the internet.
Yeah, nice seeing you, man. What's new lately?
I just opened up. I joined up with a different company here at the end of May, and we just opened up a new restaurant near where I live, so it's like a 10-minute drive, which is nice.
Cool. Yeah, last I saw you were doing a pizza.
Yeah, that was a few jobs ago. No, I'm with Taxman Brewing now.
Mm.
So they just opened up their second restaurant, which unfortunately they don't do any brewing on site. Growlers on Sundays.
You cook a lot with the beer, I imagine.
They like us too. So, but it's fun. We're doing different food than what they've done at their original look. Soft opening's gone like undeservedly smooth for any opening. Any problem hires have kind of weeded themselves out. So, but it's been good.
Cool.
Been good. How have you been?
I've been fine. Been doing good. Got a new job.
Nice.
Working at U.S. Bank, so doing the IT thing. So that's nice. It's fun. Cool people.
Cool. It's good to hear.
Mm-hmm. So how many kids you got running around?
Just the one, just Quinn.
Barbarian Ranger.
Yeah. She's suffering right now. Things are good with your family?
School starts in about a week. So last year of elementary school, and then on to junior high after that.
Jeez.
Yep. Pop up quick.
Well, at least your kid gets another week of summer. Here, they went back to school last week, so it's like they only get June and July off, and it's not boding well for her as Quinn gets older.
As a kid, I was always like, oh, we need more time off. We need more time off. As an adult, I hate summer vacation. I mean, give them the same amount of time off, but, spread it out through the whole year. This whole, 2-3 months off during the summer is a pain in the ass for parents. I just wish they were just occupied through the summer.
Right.
Now, don't let 10-year-old me hear that. Up, John.
What's up, Chad?
John back.
I am leaving tomorrow for 13 days. So I'm just sucking up all the life I can out of glorious Jefferson City.
Nice.
Because it's Georgia.
RTC
First Georgia, then Gen Con. What's that, George?
Oh, no, you can hear me. It says RTC disconnected, and I don't know what that means, but if you can hear me, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, I can hear you and see you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually taking off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I'm not going anywhere. We're just doing up on stuff, doing some painting around here.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Oh my god, I just want to go to Gen Con and Outer Banks and just forget my life. My life is so hard. I'm sitting here in a very D&D.
Dude, I
gotta check my privilege, but no,
No, I know what you mean, man. I've been on board at my place since last November, and I've never taken more than a long weekend's vacation since. So like, I'm ready for that like week plus full decompression kind of vacation.
Even I did better than that. I did 3 days when Steve came to town. 5 days not at work. This is amazing.
Okay.
Even better, I was present for everyone else's. Like everyone else in June was gone, and I was there, and they just dumped on me. It was I don't. Ugh.
You are a shifty banker.
Find something else. I hate banking. I hate people.
I work for a bank.
You work for the Federal Reserve. Hello.
Okay, I think we're all back and ready to go.
Yep.
Don't everybody talk at once.
Are we back online? Is our overlay gone?
He never turned.
Yeah, the overlay.
Yeah, we never went offline.
Oh, cool! Yay! Okay, we're back. All right. It is the following morning. The little mushroom cave has been pillaged of usable spores, and you guys are ready to go. The only question is where. The motley collection of dwarven survivors looks to you uncertainly for leadership.
My vote is still Mountain 78.
That is a bold choice, high risk, high reward, but I'm not willing to gamble with everyone else's lives. I didn't spend a day getting them mushrooms and chickens and just to have them...
And not ale.
Not ale. Just to have them die at the steps of some fucking wasteland.
Well, I think that we could go to and get everyone established, fed, sheltered, and then some of us can go and we can scout the other location.
I agree.
Because it's only like a couple of days between the two.
John says about a week to 2 weeks, depending on what kind of time we make. But yeah, I think actually that's the better idea is let's get everyone someplace safe where they can at least establish, and then we can set up a survey party to go see what's up with the other mountain.
Edwin, who always seems to know a guy, how far is new settlement? What is it?
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
No, Kazadheim.
Kazadheim, right.
Kazadheim. What's the nearest non-dwarven civilized settlement?
John, do you want to...
There's some farming villages with some inns and such along the way. There's no real big cities around because there's not that many big cities because it's D&D fake medieval times.
Well, my reasoning against Kazadheim is it's been long abandoned. The iron vine's been tapped out. We get there, how will we supply ourselves? How will we be able to make trade with no resource production? We'll eventually wither on the vine and only prolong a genocide, which we so narrowly avoided. At least with Mountain 78, as a group, we stand a chance of forming the colony and protecting it while investigating what went wrong.
Just so I wasn't interpreted earlier, the consensus among the dwarven culture and history is that while Kazadheim was partially exhausted of iron, it's not totally empty.
Oh, okay. I was operating on a false assumption. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought you might have been. No, it's okay. If you were using rhetorical overstatement in character, bully for you. But like, That's not what the dwarves think, actually, the status is at the moment.
They don't have any iron, but they have lots of lead and mercury and radium, so it's totally
That's
safe
right.
and awesome.
They have this awesome reservoir. It's naturally formed by lead.
Well, sweet, sweet radon.
My head feels funny. Okay, so yeah. Then I will defer to Kazatheim.
An easy life. It's certainly not the life we had, but it's a start, and they'll have to tough out a few lean weeks or months. Our plan, but we can get things going there.
All right, so the group is ready to set out for Kazatheim, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sounds like that's what the...
All right, you form up, you get in front of the pack mule that's got his cart full of good stuff and spore seeds, and you hit the road. What do you find and what finds you? First off, let's see how hard I'm going to make this. Anna, you have been nominated the party Pathfinder Tracker because you're the only ranger. So roll your survival or tracking or whatever the heck ranger tracking is in 5th edition. We'll see how easy you can make this for everyone.
So I think it's probably survival, if I had to guess. There's not.
I'm sure it is.
Tracking skill.
What's your special terrain? No.
Oh yeah, the Natural Explorer.
I did mountains, but let me check. I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's survival.
Mountain. Clever me.
Okay, so what do you get for having mountains be your favorite thing? Do you have advantage on the roll or something?
Scroll down a little here.
Are we there, or are we getting there?
No, you're getting there.
Okay.
Make a wisdom check related to my favorite terrain. My proficiency bonus is doubled.
Very nice.
Of other little random perks. I'm just going to paste it into chat.
Ooh, double food when foraging. That is neat.
Oh, a couple perks, huh?
Just a few little random small.
Bran has a perk. He knows how to ride a horse.
Relevant.
Does he really?
How do you
Yes.
know how? How does he know how to ride a horse?
Clear, he gets
Because he's
the
freaking
perk of
Bran.
understanding how to ride a horse.
Yeah, but who taught him?
Abbott.
It's the mysteries. Most fighters are proficient in riding a mount. There it is. Fighter number 1 perk.
Everyone in the tribe knows that you have claimed repeatedly that you know how to ride a horse, and no one believes you, and no one has ever seen it.
Do you know how to ride a horse?
Cut to Cabbage and Bran
The
drinking.
mule in front of the cart trots.
You are proficient with at least one kind of gaming set. Bran owns a set of that. I paid for it. Mounts and
Land vehicles.
land vehicles.
You have a 1997 Ford Taurus. You can change the oil and the spark plugs. Anything bigger than that, you take to the garage, and only the dealer, because you're a dwarf, you don't want to do this off-brand crap. You keep very
way there, but nobody wants to ride with me because I refuse to turn on the AC.
You're one of those Windows-only people.
Yep, I'm a Windows-only people, and
So
I
I
only have
arrive
AM.
hot, stinking, and my hair is tangled in such a way that I might as well shave my head to fix it.
Fuel efficiency.
It screws up your fuel efficiency. The wind drag created by having the wind. I don't know. Anyways. So,
All right, so your roll is 9 to pass through the area.
Yeah, roll 20s being a
You
butt.
rolled a 3. Okay.
Okay, John, I did hit the level where I now am proficient in, like, everything. I have my...
Do you want to roll to assist?
Yes, because normally I wouldn't get too involved in this, but... Actually, Miranda, I'll let you... this is your thing. I will spin Beethoven on you. I mean, it is possible to roll worse than a 3, but...
This is definitely a high-impact roll. One that rolling better than a 3 because of Beethoven could save you lots of heartache over.
Yeah, and if...
I'm going to do this thing where I cover my eyes before I roll.
Hey!
And if it can help any, I will throw in a roll, but I don't know how assistance works in 5e.
You're fine.
It adds a blue die. Wait, damn, wrong game.
That's a blue die.
Damn blue die. Okay, with 16, you guys are able to make it pretty darn far. There's no random stuff that assaults you along the way. You are about a day out when this happens.
Oh, do you have a picture?
Does the map twist into the background and some poppy music starts?
Yeah,
it's all mountains, and it
the
goes.
screen shatters and
the battle music begins, and you all have limit breaks. No, none of that crap. Okay.
They should have worked with this.
You all see this clearly enough. There are dots on the sky that look kind of like birds, except as they get closer and closer and lower, you can tell that they are small reptilian humanoids with wings flapping them at a course that's going to take them above you pretty soon. And they're all carrying rather large rocks cradled between two hands.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
Awesome.
Oh, no, I don't know what they are. Oh.
How far away are they?
Petra the Mole Rogue says, well, what are these sons of guns? And knocks a short bow, waiting for them to get a little closer.
Yeah, how far away are they?
Right now they're about 100 feet away.
Could I roll...
I have a longbow instead of a short bow. That is well within
Can I
range.
roll knowledge to see if I know what these are?
How many?
Yes, you can. There are 6.
What applicable knowledge?
Give me Arcana.
Sweet.
Because I'm nice to you.
You might be.
You rolled 10.
Hold on, I've got knowledge arcana as well, so I'll throw one in there.
Ed, give me perception. I'll let you roll perception because you rolled a 10 on the knowledge.
Bam. Okay, I did a little better.
Okay. Dan, rarely kobolds will be born with wings.
Oh, great.
These are called birds.
They're called what?
Birds. URD. And you're about to get dive bombed by a half a squadron of them.
Fucking kobolds. What?
Dicks. Okay.
Bless.
Let me know when we're in initiative order.
Ed, you don't know what's going on here. Okay, yeah, everybody give me initiative.
George, what's Bless do?
Just add a D4 to your attacks.
Does anyone else have a longbow or another ranged weapon that has very long range?
I have a light crossbow.
What's the range on that?
I don't know.
Very long.
I have throwing hand axes and I'm very strong.
I don't think that's going to do it.
I have a Roman scorpion.
I've got Firebolt. What the hell's the range on that?
Are you watching Game of Thrones, Dan?
No, I was actually just thinking back to Chad and I's
Oh,
Cold War
yeah.
days.
I got range. I got 80 is no penalty, 320, up out to 320. Whatever the distance number is.
Firebolt, I've got a range of 120. Oh, that's useful.
Okay. I will give Firebolt, the crossbow, and the longbow a free approaching round. Dan, Chad, do you guys have any sort of long range options?
No. Though if I get a kind of a prep action, I'm going to use it to take the dodge action.
Okay.
Can I yell at them to try to get them to attack me rather than the innocent bystanders behind us?
Sure.
I've got like a shield and a helmet and armor and stuff, so if they drop a rock on me, it'll hurt, but it won't kill me, hopefully.
You can scream taunts at them.
George, you said Bless is a +4?
Yeah. In the long run, it's better not. I'm giving you 3 the. Actually, wait, no. I keep forgetting you're not a warlock.
Okay. My intimidation roll I just made.
You trip over a rock as you run to charge and fall flat on your face.
I think I frightened the church lady.
Let me see your real war face. You didn't convince me. Ah! All right, Anna, you're up.
But they're kobolds, so that might hit anyway.
Actually, it does. Roll me damage.
Hold on. Having all those macros. Does Bless do anything to damage or no?
Attack in your saves. Roll a D4 that you didn't need. Congratulations.
Okay. A longbow arrow smears one of the flying kobolds before it gets a chance to drop its rock. It connects center of mass, and the thing just falls out of the sky like a rock. Okay. George and Ed, I'm also going to allow you guys to defeat the initiative roll because you have longer range than they do, and they can't close in time to deliver before you can shoot your crossbow and your firebolt. So whichever of you got higher initiative is up now, and I believe that was George.
Heck yeah, it was. All
right, so George, you get to shoot with your crossbow.
I've now lost Ed off camera.
That's okay.
That's a straight... Oh, wait. Let me roll Bless.
Bless could make the difference. Actually... Oh, no!
Wow. Womp womp.
I'm George, just kind of...
Your crossbow attempts to connect with the kobold in a flare of holy ancestral light, but it just barely misses.
That crossbow's not... or that bolt's not coming back.
Nope.
Over 3 football fields.
All right, Ed, firebolt time.
All right, so as I prepare, I grab my crystal hammer and kind of give it a flourish with some infernal undertones in my voice and let loose, pointing at the nearest approaching Erd.
That will hit.
If he's wearing anything flammable, it also catches on fire, according to the text of the spell.
Oh, gosh. Okay,
Skin is flammable.
His loincloth goes up in flames.
Yeah, and that's about it.
But you only rolled 1 damage?
Yeah.
But that's about the extent of it. He drops that thing, so there's a falling, burning kobold loincloth sailing toward the earth, flittering like a shredded parachute. But that's about the extent of the damage that he takes from the firebolt. There are 5 of them coming down.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ed, can you refresh your session of Roll20?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wonder if that's what it is, because I've refreshed mine multiple times and I'm not getting you back.
2 of them divert hard for Emma after that display
Ed did it.
Of
success.
Longbowmanship. One of them gotcha.
Pretty sure that first one's going to be a hit.
If you were a dwarf, you would have sucked at the longbow and not incurred their wrath.
That's right. This is another object lesson in why you should be a dwarf.
Except then one of them would still be alive because I would have been sucking at longbow.
All right, you take 7 damage, Anna, from a very large rock that comes and cracks you on the shoulder, and it hurts badly.
I don't like it.
Albin, Golem, and Edwin also each take 1 shot. But since Bran is such a non-threat,
mine is a disadvantage.
Oh,
so
okay. Bran seethes with embarrassed rage.
All right, the one misses you, Dan. And then there's 1 on Golem.
What's my armor class? Oh no!
That's probably not 25.
Nope.
And 1 on Alvin. Oh. At least that one misses. What are crit rolls in 5e?
You double the damage dice, but not the modifier.
My most of me.
So it's like 1d8 plus 2, it becomes 2d8 plus 2, but not 2d8 plus 2.
Oh, God.
Hold on. Let me see if maybe I can do something. Probably not against a 20.
Well, that's a nat 20, so shield isn't gonna...
Yeah, I don't even have shield.
Let's hope you don't die, because you're the only level 1 character.
I have 8 hit points.
Oh, God, you're in the death minigame! There is a rock that falls on Golem that hits him square in the head and knocks him tumbling unconscious to the ground again. Golem's poor head. Dude has got more concussions than a linebacker.
All right, so that doubles the damage?
Yes.
So I've taken 20 or...
No, you've only taken
1d6.
I rolled 2d6 instead of 1d6.
I'm
double
only
damage, it's 2
multiple dice.
of the dice.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't double the modifiers in 5e.
Gotcha.
Okay. They immediately disengage, having dropped their rocks, and start flapping away. Alban and Anna, you can take party.
I'm shooting another one.
My most of me.
Are they in 60-foot range?
Yes, for this round they are.
I'm going to roll the d4 first, and then
can I toss
the attack?
I want to toss Bran my crossbow, and then I'm going to blast it with Holy Fire.
John, since I did get that pretty high roll on my ability to identify them, do Urds typically come up with something like this on their own?
Oh, I like that idea.
Yes, this is in fact their favorite thing to do.
Okay.
They're the most basic close air support attack thing. Like their preferred ambush tactic is to all go in at the same time with a big rock as big as they can carry and then fly away.
I realize they're not the brightest things in the world, but is there an end game on this? Are they trying to chase us out of territory? Are they just assholes? I mean, is there...
that you do not yet know.
Okay.
You did intuit that they came rather suspiciously directly from the direction of Kazanheim.
Okay. So we may have to take this back. All right.
Okay, so Miranda, you rolled
I totally hit one.
27 AC against 7 damage. Okay. Anna pastes another one of the Urds as it's flying away with her longbow. Direct connection to his now naked butt. He dies with no dignity. Okay, so Bran, you have been tossed Alban's light crossbow. You get a parting shot. Alban, you can do whatever holy fire thing you want.
Oh, make him roll a d20 and he can add his X save.
Oh, when do I get my turn?
You can take one if you have something you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, before the parting shots happen. Okay.
Unless you so far gone with dark magic that healing hurts him, but
no, it does not.
I didn't think so. Let's see, cure wounds. It changed up the way it works again.
Oh, don't use your turn for that. I can swift action him.
Can you do that immediately because he is in the process of dying?
He's got time.
Combat rounds are like half seconds, aren't they? In D&D,
it's like 6 seconds.
Yeah, but he has to play the death minigame every round.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, George, unless you're going to do this now.
Yeah, it doesn't even take my action.
6.
Okay, then I will remain in dodge.
Cantrip, so I can use my main spell as a swift.
Okay, what's your spell, George?
I am swift actioning healing word. I just say something holy, and as long as he's within...
Just imagine a dwarf literally saying the words something holy. Instead of actual holy words.
Holy something. Holy.
Holy concussed head, Batman.
Holy. God. DM 30 feet, because the other, it's not a question.
Oh, yeah. He's in 30 feet.
That I can do. Alright, so I don't need to look anything up. I can just roll. I'll do my turn. Plus, if that's...
It's like, yeah, it's a D4 plus something.
Did I really have to take a death saving throw when I went below 0 hit points?
Okay. Well, no, it's you.
Each turn after you go below. I think.
Yeah, I think it's turn
10.
And you have to fail 3 times before you die. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're not going to get into the weeds on that since George immediately turned around and got you back to full hit points.
Yep.
So hooray!
And then,
when I come back, I would
make one of the kobolds do a saving throw.
Against what?
Dex.
Are you shooting
Dex.
it?
Yeah, with holy fire.
Do you have to roll an attack roll to do that?
No, he has to save.
Nice.
It's an all or none.
Why do they always hit me in the head?
He fails a saving throw. What happens to him?
Three holy damage or light damage, something holy.
Okay.
But that's not enough to really. But maybe with.
Well, they're kobolds. At least in prior editions, I had a half hit die. So.
This one takes a divine smacking from a bolt of golden light in the air and shudders for a moment and kind of kilters off course a little bit, but he recovers his flapping rhythm and keeps flying away. All right, Bran, you have Albin's crossbow in your hand.
Okay, and there's still some left?
Yes, there are still 4 of them flying away, one of which is pretty badly injured.
Okay, well, yeah. Kill all these guys? I mean, we're only going to kill 1 or 2 if we're lucky. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more where they came from, and we only have a limited number of crossbow bolts.
Through you.
As much as Bran would just love killing these things, he kind of loves to kill them with his... I'll spray of blood on his face!
Up close when I kill them.
Him again to get back his masculine dwarfness. All right.
All right.
He do it, but he doesn't embarrass himself this time. He just lets loose this stream of dwarven curses. He's so
fair enough. Fair enough.
It's
not the anti-taunt. It's not the taunt that like turned out to be a fade, but it still doesn't inspire them to turn around and start trying to beat you with their bare little claws, considering they've dropped their rocks. No. All right. They fly back off into the distance directly towards Dwarfheim.
You mean Kazatheim?
Kazatheim, that's right. Kazat is Tolkien Dwarfish for dwarf.
So they are greater than 120.
Yeah, how far
away? They have done their full round just getting out after they drop the rock, so they're too far to shoot now.
All right.
Are you sure?
We need to send a scouting party ahead. I think this mountain is infested.
No, do you?
Yeah, I pieced that together.
What
with
what tipped you off? Was it
studying the
big
rock? The rock appears to be a particular form that only occurs deep within dwarven mines.
A little bit the flying goddamn kobolds jumping rocks. Just a little bit.
On the nose.
Unless Albin immediately hops up to heal my bludgeoned shoulder, I'm gonna. So I can do that.
You're gonna do what now?
Good berries. I got injured.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Injured little enough that good berries will help me.
What do you generate? Like 2d4 of them, and they all cure 1 hit point.
Get 10 of them.
Oh, nice.
Per spell.
I will now cast Mage Armor because I should have done that when I woke up.
Good idea.
Golem, you just need like a padded helmet to wear throughout your day-to-day life.
That's true. How many TBIs has he taken?
2 in the first 2 sessions, the first of which he wasn't even here for.
Yeah, I think we were kind of setting him up to be like Parkinson's the dwarf.
Magic healing, though. That might
magic healing probably fixes it pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think we need a CT scan or anything.
There's a murmur that breaks out among the civilianry behind you. What was that? Oh my gosh, that was horrifying. They see Golem go down and they're like, oh, it was him! And then another one says, no, they're attacking him. He's one of us. And the other one says, oh yeah, that's right. And then Albin turns around and cures them and says, the ancestors have brought him back! And there's just a general moment of whooping and joy.
Fucking peanut gallery.
John, I'm singing a dwarven battle hymn just to freaking... like some kind of like chantable, like this is a sing-along chantable. I don't know. It like
Dwarfy thing.
Yes, I want like this something that the crowd gets into.
Something
right?
Extra dwarfy.
So there's my performance check.
Good.
All right, they're super into it.
Yeah.
The sight of dead flying kobolds and a demon dwarf that came back from the dead.
I want to think about
really
killing kobolds, not Golem.
Yay, kobolds! Screw kobolds!
Bohemian Rhapsody of dwarven music. It's just something everybody knows and everybody starts singing along with.
Yes, that sort of thing.
Kabak looks around and says, who said something about an advance party?
I did. Well, I'm singing. Or something.
Brad says, yes, an advance party. We should go and scout.
All right. You go suss the place out. I'll keep the civilians back here safe.
Is he armed?
Oh, yeah.
He is, but he's really old, so we're going to leave him
super old.
Yeah, he's super old, which means he's like super dangerous and awesome, right?
But if he goes into a barbarian rage, he'll probably just die. So let's leave him here.
But he'll kill a lot of monsters in the process.
Neither of you are wrong. If he goes into a barbarian rage, he will be a terror to behold. However, he will then have to make a contract. If he doesn't pass the contract, he will just die.
Well, let's leave him here.
Impress the ancestors is what he'll do.
Yeah, I'll impress the ancestors and heart
He will
attack
become more
his way
powerful
into
than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, no.
But if it's just kobolds, we don't want to waste it on just kobolds.
Okay, I have a heavy crossbow that we took from the armory that I can't use, so I give it to him along with the corals.
He takes it and grunts acknowledgement. So I'll make these suckers sorry if they come around and try that again.
Give them the moles too, so that the moles can maybe keep the camp maybe hidden.
Things or like a.
And then maybe the moles can learn something from this.
Also,
terrorizing berserker.
Kabak, far be it from me to tell an elder dwarf what to do, but it might be wise to have everyone gather rocks from nearby, small rocks, fist-sized rocks, because kobolds like this, they are easily frightened, if everyone was simply to begin shouting and throwing things at them, it might confuse or scare them enough to not go for
Murder rocks.
easy targets. Yeah, it might. It's better to at least be throwing something back at them, and if you can fill the sky with it, they have only so many places to go.
Kabek says, very well. We'll scare these things off. I'll hand the rock back to the best of the hurlers.
They already know where we are.
True. All right, you all go on ahead.
I would like to go slightly ahead of the slow ass fucking dwarves. And
hey, if I had a horse, totally different.
You don't have a horse though.
But if I did,
look at stuff slightly ahead, not too far ahead, just a little bit ahead.
Okay. You guys cover the remaining ground between where you were attacked by the flying kobolds and Kazadheim. Miranda, give me a stealth check, please. And also a perception.
Passive perception or active?
Active.
All right.
I can actually keep pace with her, but I'm not an elf, so I won't do that. I'm a dwarf, so I'm relatively slow.
Mm-hmm,
that's right.
Of course. You wouldn't want to, accidentally
you take short steps unconsciously.
I have I kneel and put shoes on my knees.
So racist. But you're really good to the dwarves, so nobody says anything. But
Dude,
it's oh my god, that Edwin guy came by again.
I spend our music, he eats our food.
I spend my entire day in beard face.
This perception, I see it. And
okay. You creep up towards the front door, quote unquote, of Kazadheim. It is much smaller than the doors of the Great Hall. And if there were ever actually doors on it, they're no longer there. It's just a hole leading down into what looks like unhewn stone, even though you know that can't be right because this used to be a dwarf hall. The hole is silent.
Throw a rock in there.
Yeah, they like it.
Throw an elf in there.
You have to fucking catch up to throw an elf in there.
Throw the body of that dwarf Edwin killed in there.
Did we bring it?
But it's under a cairn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did not
bring
days
that. Ago. Brad. There are so many things wrong with what you just said.
How far behind me are the dwarves?
Not too far.
I will wait until they're a tiny bit closer, and then I will do the aforementioned rock throwing and just kind of peg a rock towards the thing. Jumps out to eat it or anything.
Dwarves get there. You've got dark vision. We can just see into the tunnel.
All right.
Yeah.
You throw a rock at the opening of the mountain hole, and an extremely shoddily constructed pit trap just collapses around it. It doesn't cover the entire entrance. You could easily get around the pit that was left, but this thing had no stress tolerance whatsoever, and the grass just down into a pit.
Should have brought one of the moles. Not to put in the pit. They're good at getting around these sorts of. I don't want to put one in that hole.
Yeah, you saying things like that for Bran. There's no, like, guards or anything out here?
Nope.
Okay. Nothing happens besides the pit collapsing?
Nope.
Alright, well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait for the rest of the party.
Sorry, Leafy Britches.
Anyway, and
They know we're here. We're a noisy party of dwarves. Just do your best.
I say we get Edwin to start singing again, and we just march in.
I'm down with the clown.
Yeah. They're not going to hear us coming.
I know, right?
really...
All right, Edwin, you're doing the singing march.
Well, no. Once we get up there, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to first tell Bran a really quick anecdote about a dwarf who went in there hammer swinging, and with each swing took out, some say, as many as 12 kobolds. So I'm giving him bardic inspiration.
Number is 13 kobolds at least.
I will then begin singing, not for the purpose of bestowing any benefit, because it doesn't work that way anymore, but simply for the purpose of trying to create noise to agitate anything that might be slumbering in here, or whatever it is kobolds do, and totally not dragons. I'm singing in a range that dragons can't hear.
You're singing a dragon lullaby. You're
yes,
singing
but kobolds hate it. Kobolds hate it.
Kobolds hate this one weird trick.
Yes, you wait until you hear number 7.
You won't believe number 7.
Kobold doctors hate him.
They certainly do. All right, do you go down into the pit? Not the pit trap, but the opening in the mine.
Certainly on slowly as I'm.
I think we should maybe
looking for traps because
decide. How wide is the?
I'll go first.
Yeah, I was going to suggest you go first. I'm going to be in the back so I can shoot things and not get in anyone's way.
All right.
I'm also not terrible from a ranged position, so I can take a rear. But if there's another front spot, I'm also good for that. I'm cleric. I'm good everywhere.
I'll take the other front spot, but I'm crouched low, and I'm once again I'm looking as carefully as I can for traps.
You're walking on your knees again, and you have your fake beard on. Yes. You have a pickaxe and a miner's helmet. We're like, oh my god.
Before we actually go in, I would like to grab a bunch of like smallish rocks like the one I threw so that we can test for further shit traps by just throwing rocks ahead of us.
10,000 gold coins.
Okay, give me one more perception check, Rando. All right, you find the 2 other extremely poorly constructed pit traps that are just inside the approach to this thing, and they just gone. The rest of the ground is perfectly solid.
Is anything on them? Like, is anything impaled on the pits?
No, there's nothing down in the pits. However, they're glistening like icicles. There's a couple of little spiky spikes in the bottom.
Weird.
And they've got frost rhymes on them.
Okay. This is not within my area of expertise, but it's certainly not cold enough in here for that, is it?
Nope.
I didn't think so. Well, something else is going on here. Okay.
The dwarven heritage of this place at this point is barely recognizable. You see some classical dwarven glyphs smudged up against the walls, things that used to be support pillars. There's still a bit of an order here, as if this used to be a small great hall coming down in. But it looks like a bunch of smaller tunnels have been cut in between and around the corridors inside here, and they've made a mess of everything. And at that point, welcome back, Ed. I rolled a 9, so There is no surprise. The 4 of the winged kobolds that you saw flying back here, one of them slightly wounded, jump out, and menacingly, they have little short spears now, make a little hedgehog and start to push towards you. Behind them, a white wormling the size of perhaps a medium-sized horse jumps out with dull silver bluey scales and shrieks a cry in Draconic. Does anyone speak that?
Hold on, let me check.
No, not Draconic.
Probably
I barely speak Dwarven.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Ed does speak. Okay, Ed, you hear it shrieking.
Okay, I do not speak Draconic. I do speak some weird stuff, but not Draconic.
Okay, he says, "Bow before Grimnos the Ice Lord," and then leaps towards you in a combat stance like a feral cat jumping that just happens to be huge and have dragon scales.
I don't know what it said, but it was probably something about my mother, so I hit it as hard as I can.
Yes.
I will kneel to no false gods.
Initiative?
Yes, please. Oh, Chad rolled a 20.
Dex,
That
right?
Get you anything? Or
Yeah. No, but you'll get to go first. Oh, Miranda beat you. You'll get to go second.
no.
Hey, I rolled in double digits for once. Hooray.
Yay.
Chad, if you want to be sure you hit this thing, you have access. The way it works is you roll the d20 for your normal attack. You look at the result, and before John tells you if it hits or not, you can then say, I'm either going to add the d6 or not. And if not, then it stays in reserve.
Okay.
So you can do it after the d20 roll, but not after John tells you if it's a hit or not.
Okay. Enna springs into action just a half second before Bran does. Your turn.
I'm gonna shoot the worm.
Shoot her.
Kobolds are lame.
That will hit. All right, the arrow strike lands true and embeds itself in and through one of the armor plates. Looks like these things' armor plates aren't really that hard when they're this young. Bran, you're up.
All right. So attack it. That is.
Wait, I need to back up here. You said worm. Did you mean worm or worm?
No, WYRM.
Okay, this completely changes the visual for me. I was like picturing this scaled worm leaping around and like bow before the dragon god. I'm like, you're not really convincing, dude.
He's not really convincing either as a white dragon wormling, but he is at least a dragon.
Maybe.
Thing work again? Or that pep talk or whatever the hell that was?
Dan, that was your thing.
Roll and then.
Okay, so what you do is you roll your normal attack roll. Okay, now it may not be worth doing. You can opt if you want to at this point to add the d6, but that's so bad, I'm not sure I'd bother because I don't think that's going to put you over. I mean, if it was like a 12, I'd say do it, but not.
Is this like a one-time use thing?
Yes, I can refresh it. I can refresh it up 2 more times, but You ain't gonna...
A low roll. I wouldn't waste it on that one.
Yeah, it's such a low roll. You ain't gonna hit on that. Yeah, I can refresh it 2 more times. So you have a total 3 of them.
I swing at the darkness.
You
The
hit.
darkness. All right. Grimnos the Ice Lord inhales deeply and blasts a gout of frosty breath upon the front flank of the attacking party, hitting only Bran and Albin in his nasty cone. You guys give me a Constitution save, please.
Oh, con!
At a DC of 12, yes.
Oh,
GM John picks his opponents carefully, not to kill, or will they? Yay!
Dwarves are good at con.
We could have been arranged stupid. I could have been standing in front.
Nope.
Do you have the bless thing? Or is that chat only?
I haven't gotten a go yet, and did it take a minute to get here? Probably not.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm gonna eat that full ice. Oh!
Okay.
Oh!
You do not take that whole thing, Chad. In fact, you only take 11 damage. But George, you take 23, so you are probably in the death minigame.
Drop to the minigame.
That
would have been insta-death if I was still... No, it wouldn't have been insta-death, but...
I have 2 hit points.
Yeah, boy.
Oh.
All right, Ed, you're up.
All right, how far away is this thing?
It
Too
is close enough for you to close the gap and whack it if you want to.
I'm asking.
There's an Albin-shaped spot.
Oh, Burning Hands? Oh, yeah, you can hit it with Burning Hands.
Oh, yeah. So as I come up, I fan my hands out with a few arcana words. A 15-foot cone of flame just erupts from my fingertips, heading towards this Ice Lord. So go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Probably hit the kobolds too. They're in front of it, right?
Yeah, you can definitely hit the kobolds too.
Yeah, so this is everything in the 15-foot cone.
What's the DC on the saving throw?
The DC is... I forgot that's also another thing. The DC of the saving throw is... 8 plus 5 is 13. Because I'm...
Excellent, he failed by 1.
Success.
Let's see what the kobolds did.
I'll roll my damage. So
They also failed. Roll damage, please.
Oh, that's nice.
All right. So they all take 13 points of fire
your
damage.
Ass whooped. All right.
Don't place Burning Hands.
Golem's hands explode in jets of flame, and the kobolds are just barbecued. They all burn to a crisp instantly. The dragon
That dragon dropped me.
shrieks in horrified pain, obviously unsuited to being set on fire, being Grimnos, the Lord of Ice. But he is not down, and he looks super mad.
Yeah, hit me with a rock.
That's right. Edwin, you're up.
Can I get any kind of a...
Dragon hatchling is still a dragon.
Well, right, but is Grimnos, does he look in bad shape? Does he look basically fine? Is he bleeding from the sock?
He's pretty beat up. He's not down yet, but
He probably looks pretty.
That arrow got him, and then those burning hands got him again. He's a little messed up.
Okay, then I'm going to make a...
Do you have any healing? Because I think Alban needs some healing.
Well, he's fine. He gets free actions where he heals himself or something.
No, he's unconscious.
I know, I'm just being an asshole.
Oh,
okay. But I'm thinking if we don't stop the source of the damage... John, can I get a knowledge arcana or knowledge something or other? Because I have a question about dragons in your setting, because it varies from setting to setting within D&D.
Sure, give me a snap knowledge arcana.
Okay. If I Watch this.
If you want to rack your mind for something that's super deep, though, it's going to take a turn.
No,
Okay,
it's not super deep. How rapidly can they redo their breath attacks?
It usually takes him a minute or two.
Okay, so
he's not going to do it instantly.
Okay, so he's not going to instantly just start.
No,
particularly
this thing is not coming out every 6 seconds. It's coming
Okay.
out once a minute or so.
That's what I was trying to understand. Do we have any time, or is this like he's a time bomb about?
Now he still could rip a dwarf apart with his claws and his teeth, but he's not going to breathe on you again instantly.
I gotta keep the front line up. Okay, so I'm going to use my action to heal Bran.
Okay, roll me your dice.
So I get a D8 plus spellcasting ability. I'm reading this right. D8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
This is probably charisma for you.
Yeah, that's correct. So okay, it's not my spell bonus, it's just the attribute. Okay, so D20. Oops, not D20. That's very generous of me. Okay, Chad, you were healed for 7 hit points.
Yay!
So, hopefully you can something. I don't know.
It's the kobolds' turn. They're all dead. Anna, it's your turn. Yay, Golem.
Is there still a penalty for shooting? Because Bran's at melee, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's look that up.
Is there?
Well, yeah. I tried to get
success.
My guess is going to be no, because to streamline combat, they did away with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, we've been playing 2E, so my rules are all effed.
No, there's no rules on it that I can see. You can take a shot
I'm
at
gonna
it.
shoot at it then.
All right, give me damage. Ho 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 ho.
Oh, ho, ho.
Ho 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 ho. This thing strikes a neck plate where there hasn't even got armor developed yet, and it is gushing blue, black, white dragon blood wound, but it's not dead. Bran, it is your turn.
Well, then I make a vague sort of attempt. Just swing wildly. My tongue is frost rimed to my shield, and I'm just having a hell of a time right now.
You got double dog dared to lick your shield.
You did indeed.
Thanks, Alaban. Thanks for that.
Don't do that. Bad.
This thing hisses at you all, leaps up off of its back legs, jumps out of the open mouth of the cave, and starts flapping its wings. Everybody gets parting shots if you have a ranged attack. It is flying away as fast as it can.
Dissonant Whisper.
Oh, I rolled a 1. Of course I did.
John, I'm turning it as back and cursing it infernal.
Okay.
He must make
We'll do this through the rest of the initiative order. So,
Okay.
Ed, actually, you get to go next. Firebolt. Again, 17 AC. Okay, roll me damage.
Yep, totally lit that dude on fire, maybe. Yeah, take that.
Okay. The firebolt connects with its tail. The tail catch on fire. The fire then creeps up the rest of its body, and it just falls out of the sky very shortly after emerging from the mouth of the cave. And it twitches a little crispy bit. It burns kind of a hole in the snow at the front, and then it's dead.
Anna's gonna give Golem a bit of side eye, and then be like, you know what? No, high five. Because we totally killed that guy.
Healing to George. So 10 points of healing to George.
All right. George, you're back on your feet. Dwarves. Bran, Alban, and Golem. You noticed instantly something that you maybe could have noticed before, but after the breath weapon went down, you noticed much more clearly. The dark iron-hued rocks, you can see some visible veins, some are just stones around it. In this chamber are glistening with that sort of blue-black, almost icy character that the rest of the place has, despite the fact that it's not really cold enough to justify that. All you dwarves roll me intelligence checks, and if you have mining or blacksmithing, give yourself your proficiency bonus.
I think I have something. We've got stone cunning, but that's different.
Actually, Dan, you can make a proficiency bonus too, because this is conceivably bardic knowledge.
Is this would stone cunning be?
Absolutely, stone cunning counts for sure.
All right, so we're all proficient.
Yeah, typically how it helps work is whoever does this has advantage since we're all proficient.
All they're
So whoever has the highest int.
It could be Bran. You don't know. You know me.
I'm gonna go.
Colin, please continue.
You're doing what, Miranda?
Taking some trophies from the worm.
No.
Dang.
Doing the worm.
Yeah, doing the worm. Okay, Bran. You are pretty darn sure that some, if not most, of the iron left in this place, by dint of having white dragon blood and white dragon layer essence sap into it, is harvestable and usable cold iron. Cold iron is much more valuable than regular iron, and is known to have properties that are repulsive to fiends, including demons and devils.
I'll make Golem some underwear out of this.
That would not be a bad idea, Elder Dan.
Why is it gotta be underwear? Why can't it be a shirt? Or some kind of, I don't know, bangle or
keep you from
horn
breathing.
warmers. Like horn cozies.
Yeah, let's get some horn cozies going.
Yeah.
Actually, Golem, this stuff kind of makes you a little queasy to touch.
And
You're not at a disadvantage or anything, but like following your hand along the surface of the rock and taking note of what makes you nauseous and what doesn't, you can find the cold iron veins quite easily. High five for being a demon.
Great.
Guys,
He's like a truffle pig.
Exactly. He's a truffle board.
My stomach's just kind of. I'm gonna go. Oh, hold on. No, I'm good. All right. Let's
All right. You suck it back down. Go. Good job.
John, can I get I'm gonna stealth a little bit deeper into the cavern, just to see if there's anything else in here, like monsters or signs of monsters.
You sneak down around, Dan, and Edwin. Edwin doesn't see any other active monsters. It looks like this thing might have had more kobolds at one point, or perhaps these handful that you fought were just particularly industrious.
Can I find this thing's den?
Absolutely. It is just a little bit lower and just a little bit farther back.
He's just a baby. He doesn't know how to fortify a place properly.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm just curious what, if anything, he's put there, like Dwarven cultural artifacts.
Yeah, how
sweet helmet.
Not at all substantial is his hoard, because he's a dragon. He would have had one even if it's shitty.
You actually do find a crappy little hoard down in the chamber immediately below this chamber. There's not really anything there by way of dwarven artifacts. It looks like everything valuable was gone at that point, but there are coins in silver and gold denominations of the dominant human empire around here, hoarded up in the total amount of 287 GP.
Okay.
You also find a brilliantly crafted warhammer and a brilliantly crafted set of chainmail.
Ooh, that's my jam.
Okay.
Those are probably for you.
Alright, then John, here's what I'm doing. The 287 gold pieces, I'm putting into a box. This just became the starting tax base for our new Dwarven society. So I'm not taking any of it. Well, I'm taking all of it, but I'm not taking it like putting it in my purse. So I'm taking all of it, finding it like or I think I even have boxes on me or something, but putting it in a pouch, and this is now the starting investment base for tools and such for our new Dwarven.
Any trading we need to do as a...
Precisely.
So ale. It's to buy barrels and barrels of ale.
I'm not telling anyone about it right now, just yet. For the moment, I'm not going to tell anyone about it for that exact reason.
Really?
Because, yeah. So, however, I am taking the chainmail and the warhammer back up, and I present them to Bran, and I say, it looks like the dragon took this from the previous owners. I don't know their nature, so study them and wear them with care. I'm not clear what metal they're made out of, or if any enchantments rest upon them.
Is there any like markings or anything on this? Any history written on them? Maker's mark?
There is the identifiable maker's mark of a craftsman you do not recognize, but the intricacy of the mark itself suggests if the particular culture that this marker was from was anything like the one you just came from, that this dude was top flight, like a real master of smithing. And in fact, the insignia on it also suggests that both are enchanted.
Then, John, I will take my last slot of first level spells and burn it on Identify for the Warhammer.
Okay, it is a Warhammer +1.
Woo!
Okay, Chad, give me a bit and I'll tell you what the chainmail is.
So that's, how does that work in 5e? Is that +1 to hit, +1 to damage?
Yes, you roll +1 to both hit and damage.
And you can now hit like magical creatures and such, like ghosts.
I'm gonna go fetch our refugees while they're examining their new dwarven loot in the weird order.
Yeah, you grab the refugees with no problem.
Do we, I just thought what I was going to say.
The mines look like they've been trashed by this cobalt tunneling or whatever the heck got to this stuff, but they're not unrecoverable. You could definitely get some iron coming out of this ground if you had some time and tender love and care. And you're pretty sure a lot of it would be workable cold iron, which you could either work into demon repellent devices or sell for a lot of gold.
Well, and also if they've got junk, like rotting junk and literal excrement everywhere, this is prime growing ground if we gather it up for the mushrooms.
Yep, you could definitely dedicate a chamber or two to mushroom growth. You think there's more chambers in here than you can immediately see. They're just behind collapsed passages and stuff. This whole place is a mess. You're not exactly sure.
Dwarves to investigate this. Oh, wait, we do.
That's right. You'll figure it out before too long. You gather the refugees into the new main hall, carefully marking the pit traps along the way. And everyone looks like they're ready to hunker down for a night in here. They are drinking riotously over the corpse of a white wormling. Scales are being passed around as trophies. The Methuselah of wine is down to the halfway mark and falling rapidly. And drinks are being passed around and songs are being had.
Good time.
Totally lit a baby dragon on fire.
Happened.
That was sweet.
Well
Had it
done.
coming.
So,
All I saw were
so where's
clouds.
its,
And then
so
I saw
where's its mother?
clouds.
Does anyone want to do anything before bedtime? Great question, Chad.
I have kind of a wild sort of scheme. So I'm going to carefully climb down into one of the pit traps. So these spikes, they're not obviously normal. Using chisel, hammer, whatever, can I break one free?
Yeah.
I'll assume it's cold to the touch.
Very cold.
Okay, put a glove on, and I'm going to try and chisel the surrounding rock with it. Which breaks first, the rock or the spike that I'm holding?
Good question. Let's consult the dice. It's not that much better than using an ordinary pick, but it is a little bit better. The icicle is comparable to a very durable, very new, well-crafted dwarven pick.
Okay, so this is about on par with like really high-end steel.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll assume there's at least one craftsman somewhere amongst us.
Oh yeah, there's a few.
It's dwarves, so I'm going to inform them. I'm going to show them the spike, describe to them how it was found, and inform them of the properties it has and that they might want to harvest this either for sale, for weapons like spear tips, or for tools. I will then find Bran, and we are going to record the history of the battle with the dragon precisely as he recalls it, or cares to tell it.
Bran is...
I have no memory of this battle.
For all of his bluster, Bran is actually a very honest and loyal guy, and Bran did during the battle,
Distracted it.
Licked his shield and got his tongue stuck to it. So while he omits that part, he talks up Gollum and Inna and Alaban and their contributions.
I mean, once again, I was there to see it, obviously. I'm not an idiot. But because this is the Dwarven way, at least to me, I just verbatim write whatever it is he says. So if he gives an honest history, that's what I write.
He just admits his personal blunder.
Kabak objects from over Bran's shoulders. Son, you took a gout of dragon breath to the face, and you kept standing after it was all over.
I did.
More than our dear friend Albin could say of himself. Stop selling yourself short.
It's all about who killed the beast and who saved the day, not who gets breathed on by stinky ice.
Anna's been around dwarves long enough. She's going to chime in and say, yeah, but if you hadn't been standing in front of that dragon, it would have come to bite us before we could kill it. So well done.
The ancestors chose you, Brad. And they sure as hell did not choose me.
A roughing of agreement that breaks out around a circle around Kabak, and then it just echoes outward. So there's harumphing cheers around how well Bran did in this fight. And then
Bran!
Well, you can't fight against the harumph.
And that is where Game 2 will end, among harumphing dwarves and a dead dragon.
Good times.
Yeah, excellent game.
That was awesome.
Now that I could hear the whole thing, I could actually get into it. It's great.
Yeah, baby. All right, so everyone gets 300 XP for being who you are. Yeah. Chad, you did not have a work call, and you did not use your phone for dithering, correct? Okay, then everyone gets an additional 150 for not dithering on their phone.
Hooray!
I know that makes you level 2, Ed. I don't think the level 2s have gone to level 3 quite yet, but you should be quite close.
Yeah, that's up to 750. I don't know. I have no idea what the level scale is anymore.
Level 2.
I put it in chat in case anyone immediately forgets the numbers that they were just told.
Right. And then, so I gain 1d6 plus 3 hit points.
Yeah, what does it take to get to level 2?
It takes 900 to get to level 3.
Okay, so
you're all at 2 for now.
Okay.
So next game.
So what is the level up process?
The biggest thing to do when you level up in front of everyone is just to roll your hit points like Ed just did.
Or you can choose to take the average, which is
yes,
half the die plus 1. So if it's a D10, it's 6.
What's my hit dice?
For fighters, it's 1d10 plus your Constitution modifier, which for a dwarf fighter should be substantial. probably +2 or +3. And then you make
roll 20.
You make choices as you level up. Usually in this game, it'll be like at level 2, you can pick the path of this or the path of that. It's not the same for every class, and you don't have the same choices at the same levels. But if you go on a system resource document, you'll see like level 2 fighters get this shit. I'm sorry, this stuff. I made it to the end game without cursing on stream. Good job, John.
Okay, so Chad, your base proficiency at level 2 stays the same.
You're nothing.
You
does
get
nothing. Pick a
something
fighting
called
force.
Action Surge now.
I know that's good.
Yes, I get an action surge. I could use an extra action on a turn, must take a short rest before using it again.
Yes, you must take a short or long rest before you may use it again.
So as of level 2, I'm actually taking as my arcane School of Abjuration.
Oh, an abjurer.
Ooh. A demonic abjurer. There's an irony to your character that I am only now...
I don't have mommy issues. There's a reason I was protecting from evil every doorway.
Yeah, I caught that.
And then, Chad, that's it for all the changes on you. It's pretty straightforward. So the hit points, the no change to proficiency, and then the action surge. You get your martial archetype next level.
Yeah, you're actually already supposed to have a fighting style.
My fighting style is defensive.
Ah.
Ooh.
+1, straight AC.
Thank you, son.
Can't go wrong with that.
That's probably good considering pretty much every other person in this party, with the half exception of George, cannot take very many hits.
Yeah, my idea with Brand is to just turn him into a brick.
That is exactly what the party needs out of you, combat balance-wise.
Good idea.
Unfortunately, I just rolled a 3 on my hit dice. So.
John, even though I don't technically have the skill slot, just for the sake of getting the paperwork done, can I take a nap and then identify the chainmail?
Yeah, sure. You've got some time in here. It's chainmail +1.
Okay. So, Chad, you chainmail plus... What armor are you wearing right now, Chad?
Chainmail.
Okay, well, your AC just went up by 1 more. Because now it's chainmail +1.
My armor class is now a straight 20.
Damn.
That is...
For 5e, that's really good.
Blinged out for level 2 in 5th edition. Yeah.
I think you get a base of 10, so that's +7 for the chainmail, +1, +2 for the steel shield.
Oh yeah, no, it's possible.
Defensive style.
It's just like, yeah, that is the bang for the buck that you're getting by putting your level ups where you've put them. You've got a super high AC, which great.
In fact, that's the only thing that has hurt me the past 2 days was a con save, which I made. It's just you
made both the con saves. You saved against the poison and you saved against the breath.
All right, I chose my 2 spells, shield, because I'm not. That's good, and then find familiar.
All right, Ed, for your daring debut and for incinerating the flying kobolds in one fell swoop, I award you Beethoven. So prepare to summarize the game next session, and also prepare to have 1 reroll on any roll of your choosing.
Cool, sounds good. Make a note of that.
Also prepare to form a GM cartel between this and the Star Wars game, and you better only ever give me the awards. No, I'm just kidding.
Cool, all right, got that note taken care of. I will summarize the game.
There he is.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, you didn't do the noise when you invoked him, Dan. It's a breach of protocol. Next time when you invoke Beethoven, you have to vocalize the Fifth Symphony.
Well,
does it have to be the Fifth
Symphony? You were suggesting someone else use their Beethoven. I didn't know you had to do it when you.
That is true. The traditional form, when you don't have Beethoven, but you want someone to use it on a roll that just happened, definitely the traditional form is dun 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 dun. And no, Ed, if you wanna do another Beethoven and you think anyone will get it, feel free.
Well, there's a whole catalog.
Well, yeah, he's one of the canonical composers, but like, what the heck does that mean?
Well, where this came
Internet
from?
neckbeards playing D&D, and by that I mean us.
So how this started was when we were playing BattleTech at my parents' place. My dad, being a music teacher and music composer, he had a display shelf that had all these famous composers on it. So it had Beethoven, Mozart, Verdi. I mean, it just went on and on. It was like 2-3 dozen of them. And when we were playing BattleTech, everyone, we were spastic teenagers, everyone would grab a different one. And like, when the game was slowing down, people would start going, see like a whole chorus over, like slamming them on the table. Like it was like Klingon with these. And, but for some reason, there was this weird fight over who owned Beethoven. And that's why he became so special, is...
Because he's so fuming. He's so angry.
He does. He has I don't know how he sees on the camera, but he does have this kind of angry look to his face. But of all the composers, once there's like 2 or 3 dozen of them, this was the one that always got fought over. But if we play BattleTech at some point in the future here on the streaming AP, which I'm sure we will, then in addition to the tradition of Beethoven, we will also return to the BattleTech prayer.
Yes.
Is necessary for all BattleTech games. But anyway, that's neither here
nor
there.
If Beethoven really, really saved your bacon, you have to perform a ceremonial viewing of the greatest Beethoven movie of all time, Amadeus.
I thought you were going to say the greatest Beethoven movie of all time, which is Beethoven, the dog movie.
Oh my God, even better! The Charles Grodin dog movie? Yes! There are 3 levels of the Charles Grodin dog movie ritual, and if you really save the entire campaign, you have to conduct a level 3 Charles Grodin, which is watching all 3 movies. At your discretion, you can watch them back to back to back, or if you're a true devotee, you can watch all 3 at the same time simultaneously. All right, everybody. Well, yeah, that's all I got.
Right, cool. Good game, John. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you got it.
John. Thank you, guys. It's all fun to play.
We will do this again in 2 weeks or thereabouts. We'll do the scheduling nitty gritty on Facebook or whatever when it comes down to that.
Okay, very good. Well, for everyone,
horny dwarf there, Ed.
For everyone that's still on the
Bernstein
channel,
popped in.
Hey, shut up! I'm trying to sign this out. For everyone that's still on the channel, thank you guys for watching. I still need to get this dumped over to YouTube. And we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. Plus, so for the other AP, the Skies of Glass one, I just uploaded the next episode, so you got that to hold you over. Plus, I have a regular episode I need to drop either tonight or tomorrow night. So there you go. Peace out. Have a good one.
See ya.
Later.
Bye, guys.